Alright, I pushed a button, we live.
So I'm gonna get a hand keg.
Good evening, Internet.
They cost 5 silver pieces.
Beautiful, will be doable. So the party will be doing some shopping in the early hours or late evening, depending on if they did so the night before or in the following morning, as they rest up after the initiation process with the Umbral Hood, as we have now 2 past initiates who achieved, and will be getting their information in the morning. Most of which will be staying at the ship. A handful of the individuals will be staying at the Seagull's Roost, which isn't too far from the ship, at one of the nicer inns. As morning rolls around, a representative will show up at the ship and deliver a letter for Killian, at which point he will take it and inform Stella that he's off and take his leave.
He's off to see the wizard.
He'll basically tell you, don't leave John in charge if you leave the ship.
Don't leave John in charge.
And then after he leaves, about an hour or so later, as those on board the ship get ready, start doing things as the sun starts to fully rise, and it's about 7 now in the morning, an individual will be waiting on deck for Istella.
All right. She would come onto the deck, and after resting up and doing personal inventory.
Which point you start coming up on the deck, and you see John standing over at the staircase as you're proceeding up. It's like, Miss Stella, there's a scary person on the deck, and Larry may or may not be dead.
Is it T-Deck?
I don't know what a T-Deck is, but...
No, say it with me now. T-Deck. It stands for tall, dark, and creepy.
That would make a lot more sense. Kind of tall, dark clothing, not creepy, more scary, ma'am, like how you can be.
All right.
I think I saw Larry's head move. He may still be alive.
I swear to God, if we lose another fucking crewmate, I'm gonna be so done. Alright. Bring him forth. Ugh. I'm not stupid enough for this.
At which point, John goes up to the deck to go collect him, and comes dragging him down the deck steps with a little thud, 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 thud.
John, you can't be afraid of your own shadow, dear.
I'm more afraid of the scary lady on the deck that's basically squaring off with Kevin, and did this to Larry.
God Christ. She'll come onto the deck. Alright, what's the big fuss?
You see Kevin standing there with 2 blades drawn, smiling, and a lady just standing there looking at her fingernails, unimpressed.
Kevin, disengage.
Just sort of looks back at you, almost giving you a look of like, what? Then goes ahead, sheaths his weapons, and stands down.
Ma'am?
Point,
Who the
see a
fuck are you?
lady. Huh. Which point, looking at the lady, you don't recognize her. She's dressed in leather, black in color. Parts of it do seem to be white. She has on a big, thick, dark robe with hood, and on the shoulder, you notice a little symbol of what looks to be peering eyes on her right sleeve.
That was one of the guilds, right?
Yeah, that's a guild you're pretty familiar with now that you joined it.
I'ma slap you.
Oh!
I'ma fucking tail slap you.
I'll have you know I'm very tired.
Which
And
point,
I got sick earlier, so that's my excuse.
lady has 2 daggers at her side and has a rapier, which she has basically sticking in the deck with her hand on top of it.
Great, now I'm going to have to buff that out. How may I help you, ma'am?
So you're what qualifies for passing nowadays.
Sorry to disappoint.
No, it's just how you see her with her dark hair. She flips the hood back, bundled up with a strand of leather, and her bright red lips just sort of looks at you. Well, how Riggers explained what you were, I kind of expected a little more. Maybe a little taller, even.
A little taller, eh? She would shift forms into her gentleman's form. Is this tall enough for you?
She just takes the rapier as she plucks it out of the deck, sheathes it, just puts a hand to her chest. Oh my. I can see why. At which point she just gives a little smile. She's like, so, we have somewhat of unique skills now. Well, anyway, she just walks up, pulls a letter from her leather top, and hands it over to you. Be at this location, 1 in the afternoon, for your little Q&A. Simple enough.
Aye.
At which point she takes you by the hand, shakes one of your hands.
She shakes-
Pleasure meeting you. Look forward to many great and, as she looks up and down, exciting moments. And then just turns with a smile and walks off the deck and on down the ramp and into the streets.
She shifts into her more comfortable form. Everybody's a critic. Alright.
Kevin just looks at you like, what the hell was that?
Kevin, you already knew that we did this.
Goes ahead and opens his mouth. The lady and all this, is this what we come to expect? I mean, we've already got enough weirdos on the ship. I mean, is this something of concern, ma'am?
No, it's nothing of concern. And don't try to provoke her again. Or anyone with the insignia she was bearing.
You mean that little scribbles and dots on her sleeve?
Kevin, you are probably the only other literate person on the ship.
Larry tried to hit on her. He deserves what he got.
That's true, but Larry's an idiot.
Yeah, and he's a crew member, so I couldn't afford to let him die.
Larry's too headstrong to die. Or too thick-skulled, one of the two.
Does have a hard head, ma'am. Trust me, I tried to put a dagger in it once.
Only once.
Haven't we told you not to put the daggers in crews' heads?
Killian sometimes recommends it.
Well, don't listen to Killian. He's an idiot. He doesn't do anything on deck. Only barks orders.
As soon as the two of you can get on one page, that would be great, because conflicting orders makes things hard for the crew. Luckily, I know better.
Thank you, sweetheart.
I'll start handing some of the daily tasks and dish it out to people while John plays nursemaid.
Thank you.
At which point, he goes and walks off, and you're stuck with that item in your hand.
Why is it the most knife-happy guy is the most reliable?
Hi, my name is Istella. Have you met me?
He's been here the longest. He has tenure. That's why he can get away with some of his tendencies. And then at which point...
I head out. I'm sorry, I'm just messing around with some stuff in my room.
No problem. Flashing over to also on the ship, we have Brenham. Were you staying at an inn or on the ship?
I believe I was staying at a nearby inn.
We'll be back in a few minutes.
Nearby inn. Beautiful. Anyone in particular? High
I
dollar,
believe it-
low dollar?
I believe it cost me a lot more silver than a cheap one.
So you also decided to follow suit of the rest of the group and pretty much stay at the Seagull's Roost, one of the nicer ones.
That sounds right.
Same price as with Shig. It would cost you a gold piece to stay there, plus handle food.
Yep, I believe that was the one.
Do you want food for the bear too? Then it would be a gold and a half.
I thought the bear had to stay outside.
If you want to buy food for him and give him food while he's outside waiting, then yes.
Wait until the wee hours of the night and just bring them in.
They
Give him
keep someone at the front desk at all hours and everything to serve food at night and welcome in guests at any hour.
Yeah, how much is
Bear can crawl.
how much is food for the bear?
Half a gold, 5 silver.
Sure.
Bears are a little large. I think he may notice a very hairy non-person trying to crawl in. It isn't a dog.
I mean, technically, that bear, through magical means of being blessed by a god, could get hide in plain sight.
Oh my gosh.
I don't have that ability yet. Out of character.
Wasn't there like somebody who posted that fucking bear meme?
Yes.
That was me. And yes, the reverse
Yes!
7,
I want that. I want
Miss-
the bear meme.
Lord Barrington.
I'll be honest, if Monster Templates are the thing, I would probably just play a dog.
A dog pretending to be a druid.
A dog that's a rogue.
I'm pretty sure you'd probably play the anamorphic animal type and basically be a dog, so then you'd be a humanoid dog. Rogue.
Yeah.
Totally doable and would not surprise me the least. Unfortunately, you guys don't have templates in this game. So in the morning, Brenham, what are you doing at the inn? As you are resting up, same goes for the others, as we'll go round table to them and their morning activities.
I would have got up, bought my supplies.
Go the shopping. Makes sense.
Yep, buy a lot more trail rations.
Definitely.
And how much would it be to put enough food on the boat for a month?
Enough food. Considering that you got a month's journey ahead of you by sea,
Yeah.
if not a little bit more, plus however long you'll be staying there. Trail rations per day, so you'd probably want a little bit over 30 days worth of rations then.
And
Yeah.
rations last how long?
They are basically usually made of dried fruits, nuts, or some form of jerky usually.
And do
So
they
you're
last a
basically
day?
looking at like you're basically looking at stuff that lasts a pretty darn long time. Meant for long journeys.
I believe. Yeah.
So just buying standard rations, which you could then keep in your bag of holding and munch on through your long journey. Not that big of a deal, although you probably need to stock up on probably double that amount, as you'd need stuff to feed your bear with too.
Or triple.
Quite possibly, yeah. So yeah, you may end up wanting to get 90 plus days of food.
I thought trail rations were in Complete Adventure.
You could buy yourself. You could also buy a what's it called? A never-ending ration bag thing.
I got a question.
Can you?
Okay.
Why didn't you do this during the week and just PM it to Michael?
I didn't know that was a thing.
Because this is a lot of questions and a lot of time we're not getting to do anything.
Yeah.
Eternal rations and such are a thing. You guys will probably have time before you sell out. And even then, we can always do PMs before next week when you are out on the ocean. So if you do need to backtrack and just simply
do that.
say you're going to go buy some stuff now and then you can do the rest later, definitely an
Okay.
option. If you need to speak with me about it, certain items that may be more viable, as Shake talked about the eternal rations and such that automatically produce one thing of food per day, totally doable also. So you'll basically go shopping in the morning, going around to the next room down the hall, doorway. You've got Ash and Kabu. Luckily, you only have to pay for a room for one.
Mm-hmm.
And what are the two of you doing in the morning?
Assessing the situation, and for once they actually agree. Stick around with Sam. Stick around with Sam and her dogs.
Okay. I will also add that you are not alone in your room. As there's a tall guy in there dressed in white outfit, and oh, it's Alam. He's sitting on your bed.
Olaf, what are you doing here?
Alama mode.
I came to check on you. You'd seem bothered by your recent transfer from one to another location. I wanted to ensure that you were getting along with your current individuals in similar situations.
Yeah, it's gonna get time for me. It's gonna get some time to get used to, but I guess it's better than nothing.
Very good.
Plus, I don't want to join the whole pirate crew, but but according to Kabu, and even I think so, Sam is a nice woman. I think I could trust her.
Bitch!
And Estella's walking down the street and sneezes. Oh, that's weird. Someone's talking about me. That is entirely your choice. You do share much in common with many of the individuals. Though considering your peculiar circumstances and
Sorry about that. I'm back.
companion, you have much to bring. I ask that you just do not reveal too much as it may alter things.
Kabu says thank you. Huh? What's that? You want to have a request for him? Wait, are you sure? Wouldn't that all? Are you sure about this, Kabu?
There's a disagreement has
Activate.
arose.
Kabu must make a request. He wants to know if you could look into finding out just more of his kind lurking around this world.
Of course, they exist. You will not stand out too much with your companion. In some cases, some exotic stores do sell pets, and even some that are weaponized. So it is possible to buy another Kabu or similar such creatures, though I believe most reside further to the east.
Ash just makes a grim face, like, if I had to put up with Kabu, I don't want to put up with more. Oh, what do you know? I have to argue with you all the time.
He's talking to himself again.
Don't worry, get used to it.
Seems you two may need time alone. For now, you will be setting out soon. I do recommend, based upon the contract you have signed, that you follow through with it and that sticking with these individuals in whichever fashion you choose is in your best interest for what you seek.
I will stick with him since this does seem to be my best bet of trying to get back on. And hopefully we won't alter anything.
You will alter what needs to be altered as deemed by my master. You were brought here for a reason. You will fulfill that reason. That is what I was to relay to you. Now that I've given you the advice needed and the message, I will take my leave. At which point, with a flash of light, he vanishes from your room.
I don't think I'm gonna get used to that.
At which point, after your encounter with Alam and his messages, You're free to take whatever actions and activities you need to. As you know, the other set of individuals had mentioned something about certain activities to be taking place today. Some other guild initiation,
Be right back
which you
quickly.
probably hope aren't as bad as the other. At which point we will flash over to the other individuals in the room, the three. As Sam, 42, and 7 are getting ready for the morning after their hair-raising afternoon of trial and shopping, which led to some rather peculiar meetings with individuals. They then went back home and slept, and now it is the next morning.
Diary time!
You already did. This is the same day as the meet.
Alright, I did that in the morning.
Yep.
Oops.
Are we gathering at the ship or at the shop?
I'm waiting on the DM to find out what happens to us.
I was wondering if there was anything you need to do in your room before you head downstairs, or maybe check on the other stain here, and then things unfold.
Seven's just gonna make sure he's as goofy as usual.
Yeah, because we did the shopping in the morning, and then that's when the whole incident happened.
Yeah. So you go through your shopping shenanigans, and after that head back to your room to have a light discussion amongst the, well, two of you that can form words, while the third one just sits in the corner and licks itself.
Yeah.
At that time, Istella will have made her rounds as needed for shopping, drinking, and preparedness, and will probably go looking for Sam. Does Istella know where you're staying? Have you informed her? Beautiful.
Istella
So
knew. I think everybody except Killian knows. Actually, yeah, everybody except Killian knows.
Well, everybody else is staying at that inn.
Well, that's also where Sam took all the rest of them to for that evening dinner. Which, Michael,
No.
I did tip the staff a full gold piece afterwards for their patience in letting us stay there as long as we did.
Not a problem.
So I will mark that gold piece off. I forgot to mention at the end of the last session, but yes, that did happen. Or would have
Beautiful.
happened.
You have some time before you need to meet back up with Bill in regards to his swimming lessons and other activities.
Yep.
And Istella will come a-knocking at your door.
She'll be greeted with many barks from both dogs.
I will open the door and find out who it is.
Yo, Sam.
Istella! Is it just you?
As of now, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I have something that Seven might be interested in.
Oh, come on in then.
She comes in with the letter in the meeting place, and was it a letter? It was a letter, right? I'm sorry. I'm very out of it right now. I'm still semi-recovering from being sick.
There's this thing called sleep. You should get more of it.
It is a folded letter.
Yeah. She will open it
I'm back.
and, like, I guess... Is Seven allowed on the bed?
Yes.
Seven would have been up on the bed.
Oh. She'll sit on the bed and, like, hold it out that way so she can look at it too.
Aww.
Okay, well, he's definitely going to read the letter.
Just gonna lean against the door. Let them read.
At which point, as you unfold the letter, it just contains a short little statement requesting you be here afternoon time, 1 o'clock, somewhat promptly. It requests, and it points out to the one place that Estella has been to before, and I think even Seven's been to the Silent Whisper before. Up north, the fine dining place and experience.
Oh God.
Really
Hoity-toity,
fancy things.
hoity-toity.
It's where you met, well, would be meeting in the future Takumo's sister, but then also you went there in the past, and yeah.
Actually, Sam and Seven weren't there for that one.
Yeah, so I guess just really Takumo formally and Estella that have really been there twice. Killing
Alright. Looks like I have to get some of the nice clothes, eh? Have a preference.
Seven's just gonna shake his head at that. Mm-mm.
And it has a little map basically pointing out the place with a little black X.
Well, it's not exactly proper to go dressed in dust and cover.
And Seven's just gonna look at her like it's proper to go in your fur.
Wearing my good fur.
You're expecting me to transform myself into a shifter, dearie. That way, so I'm comfortable.
I think his point is that you can dress up, he won't.
I kind of figured. Well, as long as you don't shift into a stark naked form, we'll be fine.
He's just gonna shake his head at that like I don't think anybody wants to see that.
I would object if he did that in public.
Sam, sweetheart, are you familiar with the joke? It was a joke. But that's what our meeting's inclined. And I believe that we are scheduled for another swimming lesson with Bill again.
Yes.
What time of day is it again?
It is almost 8 o'clock. Your morning swim lesson, Bill, take place at like 8:30.
Well, I would recommend that we best get down there.
Yes.
And
So we head off to meet him.
Ash comes out of his room and sees Sam and the others coming out. He
Sam
waves at
stops.
them. Hey, he waves at them. Morning.
Morning. Do you know how to swim?
Morning.
Hang on, let me check my skills. A little bit. Why?
Well, if you're traveling on board a ship, you need to know how to swim.
Yeah, I do know how to swim, although it's gonna be hard with this chain shirt on.
Not really. Once you get used to it, you're fine.
All right.
I
Why
recommend
do you
heading
ask?
for the ship and hanging out there. Once we're done, we'll pick you up and we'll find out what the next plan is.
All right. By the way, have you seen that? What's his face? The guy with the bear, Bremen.
Bremen?
Thank you.
No, haven't seen it. Well, he might be shopping. I don't know. That might have been a bear. It might not have been.
Yeah, just look for a man with a bear. It's probably gonna be him.
Yeah, the bear is going to be easier to find. Although I can't remember if that was a bear or just a really big guy. I wasn't
I'll see you
that
at the-
close.
All right, we'll want to review at the ship. I'll see you there. Have a good day. Well, have a good day. Good morning.
That'll be fine, Ash.
Yes.
which point you'll proceed along the route and arrive a little bit late, but you'll meet up with Bill on the coast as he's basically waist deep in water, and that's about as far as he's gotten. He's sort of like splash around, occasionally ducking his head under the water.
And back to swimming lessons for him.
Pretty much. And then you'll carry on for about an hour or so, and then as it gets closer to lunchtime, you'll pretty much finish up as he says he has to get back to work. as he's got a little sort of part-time job he's doing while he's trying to get something better.
Not a
And
problem.
he'll
Sam
he'll
will
clean
inquire
up.
as to where he's working at the moment.
Just a little sort of stocking job in one of the warehouses. They also, do some other jobs. One of the merchants, hoping that they'll hire me for some bodyguard work or mercenary work. Since they also do transportation, I figure I can guard supplies
Caravan
as they
guard.
move them.
Caravan guard, yes.
Yeah, security.
God, I hope they have a healer.
The main benefit is they do it up the river. They travel it by boat, so I figure I can do what I know, and also since you're teaching me how to swim, if I should fall overboard, might be
You'll
okay.
be fine, yeah. See, knowing how to swim is a good thing.
Yeah. At which point, Bill will go and get dressed and take off for his job. You all will clean up and head back to the ship to wash up, get the salt water off you, head back to your room to wash up with a bottle of water, and then have your lunch meals. At which time, as you decide to go proceed to the ship and meet back up to discuss what to do, and as it gets closer to about 11, at that point, as you're leaving the inn at the Roost, you have an individual waiting downstairs as the front desk goes, that one's Sam right there. The individual stands up, thank you. Walks up to you. You see an individual with a large brim hat made of leather. He's decked out in leather clothing and armor. Fancy looking boots made of metal, it looks like. And then a nice cloth cloak of a bright purple nature. It looks soaking wet. The individual will proceed up to you. You must be the one in question. Beautiful. At which point he just sticks out a hand, shakes your hand, and then flips out from underneath his vest pocket a little piece of parchment paper folded up very tiny. Hands over to you. You'll be needing this. You have your appointment at noontime. Best of luck.
Thank you.
And then just turn and head on off.
Prompt, to the point, and nice and polite even. Interesting.
Ow, fuck.
She will read the letter on the spot.
As you unfold it 10 times to make it large enough to be able to open it and actually read it, the letter will dictate a location at the bazaar, north end, a small shop, and that you are to be there in what? Oh my god, by noontime, and it's almost 11:30.
Well, 7, it's time to go.
Like, you just have just enough time to maybe go grab Istella if you need to, and maybe the others, at which point, coming back from shopping is Brenham, as you see him outside, basically telling his bear to stay put, and across the street you see what appears to be Ash chit-chatting to himself as he's looking out at the water.
7, can you run a quick errand for me?
He's gonna bark.
Folds the letter back up, sticks it in, attaches it to the collar, and says, "Can you go get Istella and show that to her? I'll meet you at the location." And Sam will whisper in 7's ears to where it is. Don't be
And at
late.
that point, 7 just zooms off like the fastest possible dog on the earth.
That would be a greyhound, but
Might be outrunning a greyhound at this point. That takes care of that. Brenham, how was your shopping trip?
Good, I'm all done.
Excellent. If you're available, I think I have a job, or at least an interview thing that I may or may not be needing your assistance for. Would you be interested in coming along?
Sure thing.
Excellent.
Always up to help.
I'll give you a moment to put that away. I'm gonna see if I can gather ash as well.
No need. Carrying it on my person.
Your purse?
Person.
Person. Okay. I was gonna say, why are you carrying
The bag of holding's for.
No, legitimately, I actually heard you say purse, Overkill.
My bad.
That's why I was like, purse? Okay.
Man bag.
Whatever. Sam will walk over to Ash. Hate to interrupt you two, as Sam walks up to Ash.
Oh, hey, Sam.
Are you available currently?
Yeah, I might as well be.
Okay, because I have either a job or an interview or something, and was wondering if you'd be interested in coming along. Don't know what it'll be like, but it's bound to be interesting.
Sure thing. I mean, that's not the problem, is it, Kavu?
He's talking
Finally.
with his imaginary friend again.
I was gonna say, I don't hear him saying no.
Like, oh, finally. He'll agree to this. Sure, let's get going. Where are we going exactly?
We're going to the bazaar. Well, it's near the bazaar. I have the location. If you gentlemen will follow me.
Sure thing, Sam.
Sam leads them to the bazaar.
How bizarre.
Sure, bazaar. Get it
Look
right.
for the northern section of the marketplace to go investigate and deal with matters.
Sam's bizarre adventure.
Can't
No.
be any more bizarre than the other bizarre adventure that did not take place in the bazaar. Yes, here there be puns. But,
Bear with them.
Sam will make it to the meeting point and assumes Seven and Istella will be there as well.
Yes.
What time? Yeah.
Well, with the speed of 7 and be able to run up on the deck and be able to bark and get Estella's attention, she will then proceed up and then see the paper as 7 makes it obvious, take it from the dog's collar, unroll it, take a look at the heavily folded paper, and be like, which point 7 will most likely start heading back down the ship and motion for Stella to follow.
Yes.
Yeah, she follows.
So you'll probably have to go a little bit slower for her to be able to keep up, although if you do leave her behind, at least she has the map, so she knows where she's going. Which point you will proceed from said boat at the docks all the way up to said location at the farthest end of the North Bazaar. Noontime, it's going to be a little bit more crowded on the main road, so you probably end up taking side roads, basically head up past Seagull's Roost, and then on the skirting the edge of the Southern Bazaar and across the large bridge.
Well, this is going to be eventful.
At which point, as you're proceeding on through and headed across river, as you're on the bridge and head across, those of which who proceeded ahead are already made their way across to Northern Bazaar and are trying to cross its very crowded streets for some blasted reason. As we have Ash and handheld friend, we have the bear and his tamer, Brenham, and then we have Sam leading the way as they're squeezing through. Not too tightly around Brenham for some reason, I guess people aren't too chummy with bears.
And rearrange
heading on
yourself so
through.
Brenham's in the middle, or so the bear's in the middle, so we can use him to plow a path.
Sounds
Start
good to
heading-
me.
When Bear comes walking through, most people not gonna stay in the way.
Most people manage to squeeze a little bit of room as the bear just goes by. Those who do get too close, the bear just sort of gives a little growl, and people quickly sort of step aside. Meanwhile,
secret-
back on the bridge, as they're crossing, Istella and Seven will catch sight of an individual, which catches sight of her.
Uh-oh.
As
Oh,
sees
no.
an armored individual with a tattered cape and weapon in hand drawn, as he's just looking out across the river and happens to notice the dog sprinting across the bridge and just sort of turns and stares at it. Seven, you happen to notice that this is an individual you bumped into early this morning at a shop.
Oh.
At
Is he
that
holding a
point,
mace?
He does have a flail at his side, though not out.
Seven's just gonna slow and look around said person to see what's going on, because now he's curious.
The individual just seems to be standing on the bridge and was looking out at the river as a boat was sailing by upstream,
He's
head
gonna
on up through town,
at the boat.
and people are walking by just sort of ignoring him. Other people who seem to be more noble or even equipped weapons seem to be avoiding the scary armored figure.
Seven's going to actually glance at the boat because he's going to know, like, I'm actually going to roll for this because I feel like this is something he would need to roll for.
Spot check.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, wait a minute. Hey, Michael, on roll 20
Be blind.
is... Oh, God, I can't do it. Is that working? Is this section right here the one you were talking about before?
This one.
Okay.
That
Got it.
peninsula.
I thought that's what it was, but I wanted to double check and make sure.
Fair enough. So yeah, you're on the bridge here, or they are, Stella and Seven, and there's a boat basically pulling away. It's about right here, pretty far away. Looks like a smaller vessel for supply transport. At front top of the deck, it basically has tons of crates anchored down on top of it, and it has a contingent of troops and sailors. With your spot check, all you do is make out some armored figures and a lot of boxes on a rather flat-looking barge of a transport boat. As the individual seems to be watching it, but seeing you come onto the bridge catches his attention. He just sort of like stares at you.
Go to what now?
As Estella is basically catching up and sees Seven walking a little bit slower, staring at a guy and then staring out at the water. You see sort of a nasty looking armored figure with a big helmet, tattered cloak, flail hanging off his side of his belt, and a sword drawn in hand.
She will.
He's going to pass the big guy. However, I'm just going to make a listen check because he's going to listen for steps behind him.
As you walk by, the individual will just sort of turn and follow you with his head.
Stella's following
Oh, shit.
them. Like, what?
Listen, you basically hear the individual take a few steps in your direction as he's 20 feet behind you, has the weapon out, gripped in one hand, and tapping the blade in the other gauntlet as you hear tink, tink, and as his metal boots are walked across the bridge, following you by 20 paces behind.
Estella will follow Seven. It's like, Seven, Allie, now.
Seven's not going to, like... He's not going to do that. He's... He's going to act like he has no clue who Istella is. And just keep on walking.
Just keep walking, just keep walking. Ignore armored and
And
scary.
he he's going to go towards the destination, hoping that if Istella goes off into the alleyway, she will take a different route.
The only reason why she was going off into the alleyway was to change forms.
He doesn't want to stop to find out what's going on. He wants, if they have to fight with a group and not one-on-one.
You're not wrong, Shig. You're not wrong.
Yeah, that's almost exactly what it is. Like, oh, my heart.
And at that point, he's going to speed up just a little bit, not the full 50 feet per 6 seconds, but more like 40.
Yeah.
The individual, as you listen, hear it stop for a moment, and then you hear footsteps start to pick up.
So,
As you glance over your shoulder, it looks like the individual has sheathed his weapon and is at a hurried pace following you, and individuals are sort of parting out of his way as he's moving towards you.
Stella's going to go into a different alleyway and quickly change into some more clothes, and then step out and I'm guessing he would pass by that time.
As you quickly run ahead and get to their side, 7 is just now clearing the bridge, and you're coming out. You see the dog basically taking at a hurried pace, and you see the individual at the edge of the bridge basically turning to follow, at which point an individual comes walking up to him in a cloak and hood with a book in hand, stands in front of him. As the individual tries to move to get around him, the individual steps over to the left. The guy then steps over to the right. The guy with the book steps over to the right. The individual tries to push by him, knocking the guy over, at which point a bunch of papers go flinging out, and the individual stops, looks back. The individual on the ground whispers a couple words, and the individual just sort of stops, leans over, and starts picking up the papers.
Oops.
Glances over at 7 one last time as starts to lose him in the crowd, and then just focuses on the papers and starts picking it up.
Stella's very lost
I
confused.
Not sure what's going on, who that individual is, what that other dark, scary individual is, but apparently was curious enough to follow 7. A lot of people don't seem to be wanting to be near him. And then he ran into someone, and now you're kind of separated, but you're not being followed. You've even changed outfits and appearance, and you still have the destination map to know where you're supposed to be.
And Estelle's going to briskly walk to the destination, trying not to make eye contact with anybody.
So, we're going to be doing a little awkward. So, someone's going to slip into an alleyway. I'm not sure how you want to do this, Michael, but considering the fact of changeling and shit, I'm just going to have... He typically has blue eyes. And he's going to change one of his left blue eye to somewhat look kind of brown, reddish, and the other one just the dark blue. In his doggy form.
In which form?
In his doggy form, he's going to be changing his eye color.
Did Michael say that you could change your fur color too?
Well, that's what it is he's trying to give a small hint of what's going on. Because in the thing that Sam and 7 did that nobody else was around for was the guy that just thing. And he wants... And she's... You know what? Just you get what I'm talking about, Michael.
They had shopping problems, and they basically bumped into that guy earlier.
Yes, thank you, Michael. Let's go on. He's hoping the hint gets out. That's it.
So changing, ducking to alleyway, and then altering your doggo form as a swift action to alter one eye color.
Yes.
which point you will proceed out and then go ahead and head to the destination, which you know where it is, and start looking around for Sam.
Yes.
Meanwhile, at the location in question, you will read Sam, Brenham, Max, if I recall the bear's name, Kabu, and Ash. Sorry, I didn't mean to put Ash last. Technically should be Ash then Kabu.
Nah, that just proves how inferior he is.
Are all at the shopping stand of the destination spot, as they are right there on that corner. And there's a nice little shop there with a guy sitting there who's selling pipes. Exotic pipes. The individual smoking a nice long brass one with a wooden bit and just having a good old time in his straw hat, very farmer hick style. Ask, what can I do for ye folk?
I was informed to come here to this place at... She stops and thinks, almost this time. And
Ah, that'd be great. I knew that my shop opening up would be great for business. What you need here is a nice, fine, long smoking pipe, miss.
Oh my
I know
god,
they say it's habit
Seven's
forming, but that's not a
grandfather.
bad thing. You hear?
What the fuck?
Could I interest you in this lovely silver one? It's a little pricey, but you'll find it quite good. Or would you prefer a nice little copper one?
Why does this sound like my Aunt Carol?
I have
I'm
no...
telling
No,
you,
you're
it's
not.
Seven's ancestors.
I mean, you buy one, you get two. You know, this one's great for sailors here. This one's great for smiths over here. Could stand the heat if you follow my drift.
Ash just
Okay.
thinks
I look
Ash
at the
just-
two he points out for smiths and sailors.
Ash whispers to Sam, "Why did you bring us here for?"
She's looking at the one for smiths, Michael, and asks him, tell me more about this one.
Maybe you should have a nice look at it. As he picks up a really bulky, thick pipe and hands it to you. Basically, large enough around like a cigar.
I will examine it closely, as he said. Any rolls I need to make, Michael?
You pick it up, and it's surprisingly light despite the fact of the metal used. And as you pick it up, it jingles a little bit like it's hollow inside. There's something rattling. Could I interest you in that one, miss?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. Well, you know what? You seem like a fine, repeat type of sort. How about we say that one's on the house? 2 doors. If you want to take a left, you can probably avoid some of the trouble of our people here.
Oh. I do thank
Have
you
a
for
pleasant day, cute bear.
Thank you.
this. Yes.
You're welcome. At which point he starts packing up these cigars and putting them into a box, starts closing down his stand.
Alright. Michael, are there doors behind him?
No doors behind him, just an empty alleyway.
Empty alleyway?
Yep. And he recommended you heading to your left and going something about 2 doors down. As it's quite crowded, but to your left, they've got it blocked off, part of the street. Head over to this street section.
Gonna examine the pipe a little bit closer once he's packed up and moved off, and see if she can figure out how to open it and get the little jingly bit out.
It doesn't look like it pulls apart, although how the metal's grinded toward the end piece, it looks like it's screwed on.
I will unscrew it.
You unscrew the mouthpiece, at which point it comes right off easy after about 3 screws. And the pipe is hollow in the middle,
Sure
which isn't a
is.
surprise, but very thin. And there is something inside. As you turn it to drop it out, it is a very thin key.
I will then reassemble the pipe.
Excellent. Although considering the make of the pipe, it really serves no function. as it's not properly built to really smoke.
Correct.
This time, Estella's making her way across, trying to find as she's in the center part, and notice that she has to get to here. Seven, meanwhile, has transformed and emerged from there, and it's also making his way over.
How is
He
Sam
would be
doing on
running
time?
at this point. Like legit running, because he wants to essentially have as much space between him and said person.
Stalker.
At which point you are running the best you can. Some people are jumping out of the way, other people don't. You have to stop and dart around them and take a move here, jump across some boxes, but doing the best you can with the speed you got.
Yay!
Michael, how is Sam doing on time? Was she a little
Time?
early?
You have probably about 10 minutes. If what he was saying is true, you're basically right where you need to be. Just got to slide over 2 houses.
Wait there for a moment and make sure everybody shows up.
Which points, if I can get a spot check from our 2 travelers, as the other 4, or I should say 5 with Kabu, are waiting at the door in question.
I was just looking around the pipe shop like, this is weird. Why are we here?
Oh, we were here to get this, as she just holds up the pipe. Michael, she's got the key palmed so it's not visible.
Sounds good.
Just to get this.
Cowboy just tells Ash this must be a trial of hers. Don't question it.
Although I'll admit, this is not quite what I was expecting. As she's looking through the crowd, Michael, to see if she can spot people.
Several people look around talking. It is very crowded because it is midday at the marketplace. So there is people, there are lots of people, there are sellers chit-chatting, there is wagons and carriages going by, there are crates being moved by workers. You're not too far from over across from you, which is older shops and also warehouse area. So there's a lot of stuff coming and going from over there.
That spot check, I'm not going to find what I'm looking for either.
Nope. Although 7 does happen to see over where she's supposed to be meeting you, and it's a weird looking old man closing down his shop.
Oh, I
Doesn't
didn't leave the
see-
spot, Michael.
Oh, fucking Christ.
I wasn't going to draw attention to that doorway. She was going to stay there. Because that's where the meeting spot is.
Doesn't see you at first as the place is being closed down. As people start to move out of his way, notices the bear, and then at which point turns, and there's Sam standing off to the side, Brenham, and oh yeah, there's the other guy, Ash. Don't see Istella though.
Oh yeah, there's a new guy. But there's a weird guy who keeps talking to himself.
The bear tamer and the guy who talks to himself.
Are we meeting at the Silver Whisper something?
A little bit later, the 2 of you got a meeting there. Right now, Sam's trying to do her little activity for the Horizon March, which you're helping with.
And if your section's on the northern side of town, guess what? You're already on the northern half of town.
Just gotta get across
Oh,
the river and go
arrive.
from here to pretty much there in roughly an hour.
Yeah, I'll get there eventually.
Considering the destination is quite a bit more than an hour away, may have to take the train to save time.
God damn it.
Train's faster.
Because considering the next where the bridge is to cross is all the way down back here, you'd have to go across the bazaar, which is like 30 minutes, and then you have to snake your way all the way through there, and that's
She
yeah.
lives at the train stop and pays her toll.
So you're basically heading through the marketplace. And you're like, screw it, I'm gonna go to my location where I'm supposed to be.
Well, Sam doesn't know Estella's bailing, so She'll wait just a few minutes.
Oh wait, no. She's not going to do that since I have time. She'll be heading to that one. But she's paying the toll to get to there.
Oh, so you're going to go ahead and purchase your ticket.
Yeah.
Going to head to the nearest train spot and go and buy.
Oh, that's... Okay, Sam's gonna have to leave without you.
All Seven was going to do, since time is of the essence, is he would have ran over to Sam and then stood up on his back paws to put his paws on her chest and lick her face and just basically get right up in her face.
Affectionate little thing.
Hey there, where you been?
He's just going to give a little whine.
Uh-huh.
Looking into her face and eyes, you notice one of her eyes is discolored.
To be red!
Got it. And if you're strapped for time, you should probably head out. I'll take care of this.
He'll just wag his tail and go to find Istella.
Well then, shall we go, gentlemen? As Sam then turns to the others.
Considering where you are, despite your speed, if there was a bridge closer to the location, you'd probably almost be able to make it with your speed. But the best you could probably do is get about halfway there, and then you'd be late.
Shit. Yeah, it's go find Istella, because he doesn't know where she went off to.
Versus me,
Roll
Michael. I'm
me
going for
a
the door.
spot check. Because there's only pretty much one of two ways you're going to get there in time, and the other one really isn't available to you, but the other is possibly well known because it's unobvious. Spot check. Look around. Okay, there's the bridge. Crap, if I drill back. No, that's too many streets to go to that location, even at top speed.
Can you swim?
Which point you notice spikes sticking up with electric sparks coming off them, and you see a large metal box come shuffling by with several other boxes and stopping on the far end of the bazaar, and people getting off of it and going shopping. And that the tracks basically cut across the water and zigzag, possibly northbound. As fast as that sucker moves, it could get you to where you're going. Considering Stella's slow movement, there's no way she could run that distance either. So maybe the same thing. Looking over there, you do see an individual in... How are you dressed right now? Fancy man?
Lydia.
Or
Sorry.
Stella?
Lydia.
Sorry. I opened up my window.
I can't hear it. Is she talking?
Careful with the window.
It's the window.
We need you in game.
I'm sorry. Okay,
Welcome back.
now, what form?
What form are you currently in when you switched in the alleyway?
She's in her gentleman form.
Fancy man. Gotcha.
So the gentleman form that he saw before in the Gentleman's Club.
Yes.
Little host club plays with gentlemen with Al-Anon. Yep. You do happen to notice a rather fancy, well-dressed individual as he turns ahead looking back to go buy a ticket. Coincidence, or you definitely probably know that individual?
Seven's gonna go over and give a little sniff.
So you will start bolting from all the way over here to all the way over to there to get to
Zip, zip,
what
zoom.
you need. Which point, reverse of what you did before, jump back over boxes, in between people's legs, around the crowd, under the wagon, spook the horse, back over, and that's person yelling, "Damn dog!" And Stella's up there, and the individual. So, you ridden the train before, miss?
Yes.
All right, so you know the fee. Where are you headed to?
To blah 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 and
Which point you basically tell the district you're headed to, and he's like, Northern Eastern District, Part 5. Okay, yep, ticket. That'll be 5 silver, please.
She pays the tab.
Yeah, feel free to go ahead and hop on board. Won't be leaving too soon, but you'll definitely get to your destination as that's the first stop.
Do I see 7?
Which point you hear people yelling and you hear a large crashing sound as 3 large crates hit the ground as the dog goes bolting past and comes right up to you, starts sniffing all over you.
7! Heal!
He's just gonna tilt his head and give a little happy bark.
Which point individual come walk up to you, look and say, "That your dog, miss?"
Yeah.
Looks
He's
over his shoulder as he motions with his thumb at a lady knocked over, some birds getting out, 3 crates busted, a horse spooked, and some ale spilled out of a large keg. You care to pay for damages for your lovely pet that belongs on a leash?
She hands him 2 golds and hops onto the train.
And before the ale comes to life as ailmental.
Ow, bad.
Aw.
Which point is like 2 gold. 2 gold not going to quite cover the all aboard. Oh no, you don't. Which point train goes to take off. Which point just sort of like waving his fist, and there's like 3 other people basically fussing over the money of who gets it.
Oh, you menace. And Sam is blissfully unaware as she's already gone through the other door.
As you're looking out the windows, Istella just got a smirk on her face. So does 7, at which point that smirk's just going to turn to a frown as you see standing up from the crowd the figure and just sort of turns and looks at the train and sees you on it and follows with his head.
Ruh-roh!
Shannon's just gonna duck and hide between or underneath the seat.
You better roll that hide check.
Estella's is in her dude form, so
Just laughing and smiling, then see 7 duck down and just sort of like cower underneath the seat.
7, when you get the chance, mind telling me what's going on?
7's just gonna give a little whine as he's trying to fit his fluffy butt underneath it.
She will go into her bag and pull out a cloak and then just put it on her lap to kind of help cover up the fluff.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. There's no fluff. No fluff at all.
Guy will walk by for your ticket. At which point, look down and go, "Your friend, ma'am? Be a per passenger. We don't discriminate with animals. That'll be another 5 silver."
Oh my god!
She
7's
pays
bill
the
just keeps
5
getting higher.
silver, and it kind of is not hard, but kind of like the little when you your friend is kind of annoying you, you kind of go bah.
That sigh.
2 gold and 5 silver from Doggo.
Proud of yourself.
He's racking up that IOU.
At least it's not 150. He could have eaten the horse.
At which point the train will be hauling speed as you're pretty much going from here to all the way to here in about 5 minutes and proceeding on by.
Little
A
menace.
7 child.
Problem child. Accurate.
Problem dog.
Accurate also.
She goes back down an alley and changes forms into her more natural form.
The compartment you guys are in is mostly empty.
Oh,
There's
then
only
she
2 other people at the far end.
Oh, the train hadn't stopped yet.
It's still moving. You guys are just basically within 5 minutes' time already across the river and headed toward your destination.
Oh.
As it's pretty smooth ride, but very quick moving.
7.
Meanwhile, back on the other side, where we have the rest of the group,
Went Sam saw 7 off, and then go over the door and use the key on it.
yep, 10 minutes pass. The guy basically finishes up with his little stand, turns, takes the suitcases, the bag, goes over to the water, chunks it into the river, pinches his nose, grabs his hat, and jumps into the water.
Wow.
The fuck?
I don't even look twice at that. I'm heading for the door.
At which point there's just some bubblies coming up, and people are just sort of like staring, like, what's going on? That shopkeeper just jumped into the water? Man, I heard business was bad for some people, but that's a little drastic.
Drastic indeed. Although that would explain the cloak.
At which point, as people are turning away and looking, you then put the key into the keyhole for that door, turn it with a twist, at which point the door gives a little bit of a shimmer. And you swear that it changes color for just a second, and then changes back. You're allowed to make me check if you so desire.
Oh, I will. Spellcraft or Arcana?
It would be a search check.
I have that as well. Not bad. I don't think that's good enough.
Search lets you know that there's definitely a mechanism that got triggered, almost like a safety. So there is a trap set on the door, but because you used the key, it didn't go off,
Good
which is
news.
definitely a plus.
She'll then lead everyone inside. And then shut the door behind her. Keeping the key.
Which
I just
point,
confused with what's going on.
you see Sam putting the key, turn it. People are looking away because of the man. There's a little bit of flash at the door, which you catch out of the corner of your eye. Sam sort of pauses for a moment, opens the door, proceeds in, has you guys hurry in quickly, takes the key out, closes the door. And as you guys proceed into the room, it is a standard sized room, but it is bare empty. Despite there being windows on the outside, there are no windows on the inside. The room is completely empty, and the walls are made of metal, lead to be precise.
Intriguing.
In the room is a small table with seating for 4. And one of the chairs is an individual seated, who you are not familiar with, but seems not too surprised to see you. As on the table is a key ring with similar keys to the one you're holding, Sam. And the keys are spread out to where there are 4 of them, 1, 2, 3 close together, an empty spot, and then a 5th one hanging far off, with the key ring facing toward that empty spot with an opening to where the key could be slid onto the ring. Individual doesn't say a word, just simply holds out a hand and then pulls it toward himself, beckoning you closer.
I will proceed forward and hand him the key.
He will take the key, lay it flat on the table, right in the spot it should go, at which point the key ring springs to life and locks around that key, and then the key chain pops up using the keys as legs like a spider and goes scurrying off the table at a slow speed and crawls on down the table leg as best it can and starts heading off to like the corner of the room.
Sam's following it and watching and says, most intriguing.
Be right back quickly.
At which point, as it reaches the corner of the room, it then just walks right through the wall and vanishes.
Most intriguing indeed.
At which point, the individual just sort of smiles a little bit and sets up right as you see what appears to be a half-elf gentleman sitting there in the chair, well dressed, attire appropriate for that of a merchant, and just sort of straightens his gloves on his hand, pulling them a little bit tighter, looks you over, and then an elven asks, "Which one of you might be Sam?"
She will respond in Elven, "That would be me. Although we'll let one gentleman be fine, having jumped in the river again."
"I would hope so. He lives there most of the time."
Interesting.
Wait, what did 3 mean?
Yes, no, maybe. Technically, yeah, yes, no, maybe.
Okay.
So, as she looks back at him and says in Elven, "What's the plan now?"
Brought assistance with you, as he responds in common. "Who might these individuals be?"
She turns and introduces them. "This is Ash, this is Brenham, and that is Max."
Gives a nod to each as they're introduced. "Pleasure. Ash, Brenham, Max. Interesting companions."
I asked him to come with because I have no idea what will be involved, and assistance is never a bad thing. Especially if it is involved a varied skill set. And the invitation does not say it had to be a private affair or that I had to come alone.
Fair. Just curious, being polite.
Fair.
I am John.
Going to do it.
Well met.
I'm back.
It is a pleasure to meet you lot. In regards to your third challenge, we will start this off in a simplistic manner to see how you can handle things. At which point, he pulls out a deck of cards, sets it on the table, very carefully keeping the cards straight, and then he pulls out a sack, reaches into it, pulls out a stack of copper coins, silver coins, gold coins. Takes the sack, puts it back underneath the table. Looks over the coins and counts them, verifying them. Then takes them and separates them into small stacks unevenly, and then slides some over to Brenham, slides some over to Ash, and slides some over to Sam, which gets the smallest stack. At which point he takes the cards, starts shuffling them, and he starts saying a couple little words in Elven, like a little song.
Listening closely, what is this song?
Just seems to be like an Elven lullaby. Gets done with the deck, just slams it onto the table, nice and straight, fixing the top card to where it's not crooked. Then he looks back up. "All right, since you are assisting," as he responds in common, "this young lady in her activities, it's only fair that I incorporate you into such activities."
Okay.
Is that
Alright.
fine?
Sure.
Excellent.
Just,
Sure.
what are we doing exactly?
You are participating in a nice little game. Which point he reaches underneath the table, pulls the sack back out again, reaches into it, pulls out some coins, and stacks about 3 times as much in front of himself as all of you combined. And then slides the sack back underneath the table as he organizes it into smaller piles in front of himself. A nice little fort shape, with the copper being the roof on top of it. So, what we're going to do is Sam here has to make sure. It's like, oh, right. Pulls back out the sack, pulls out an hourglass of small size, and then slides the sack back under one more time. I think that should be everything I'll need. As he flips over the hourglass, and the sand pours through it quite quickly. You have 10 minutes as he stops it, flips it back over to let it refill, to take what's in your pile and get it up to 30 silver coins. Simple.
Question. To convert the value or just convert it to silver?
You need to reach 30 silver coins by the end of the time frame. Otherwise, you fail this test.
DM looking at the piles.
Looking the piles over, you see Brenham has 3 copper, 7 silver, 10 gold. You then glance over at Ash, who has 15 copper pieces, 19 silver pieces, and 1 gold piece. You look at yourself, you have 4 copper pieces, 0 silver pieces, and 3 gold pieces. It's like, and what was the total you were supposed to get to? Make sure you understand the game.
I'm supposed to get to 30 silver pieces.
Correct. And that is your total. Any over, any under, you fail. Clear?
Is that
Any
total
questions?
for me personal or for all 3?
For you personally.
And what of them?
Ooh.
Yeah, what about us?
I think we're supposed to give him. So you have. Someone has 19 silver, right?
I have 19 silver.
And you have how many copper?
I forgot the copper.
15.
15 copper, 19 silver.
And 1 gold.
So you could give him 10 copper, 19 silver for 2 gold pieces.
What are
That
the
would give
rules?
Sam 20 silver.
What are the rules for this endeavor? Or
Real
are there?
simple. Which point he reaches into his vest pocket, pulls out an envelope, and pulls out a sheet of paper and unfolds it while holding the envelope. Reads off. A slight modification will be required since there's more than 2, but I can definitely, as he looks up, wing it. Very well. The one named Ash. Your job is to charge double for any trades you do. And you can only do 1 trade every 6 seconds.
Huh.
But if you do a trade of more than 10 silver, you are done for 5 minutes.
Alrighty, so I have a limit of how much I can give. I got it.
Oh my god, this looks delicious.
Must charge double, 1 trade every 6 seconds, and for more than 10 silver per transaction, he will have to sit out for 5 minutes, correct?
Correct. Bless you. So, bless you.
Bless you.
Sorry.
So, if Sam were to request wanting to make a trade with you and offer you a gold piece for 5 silver, that would handle the double cost. But since that results in basically you have an exchange of 10 silver, you would not be able to do any more trading for 5 minutes.
Alrighty, and what about Bremen here?
Puzzle.
Except he is not trading 5 silver, or is the trade of value of 10 silver?
Value.
Oh.
Very good. Clarification in rules and agreements along with business is always very important. Total value, 10 silver. So if he were to make a trade in the first few seconds of a couple of copper, in exchange for a silver, and then so forth and so on as it goes along, and it equaled 10 silver, he'd be done within 5 minutes. If 5 minutes pass, then in essence it resets.
Ah, so his 10 silver amount resets every 5 minutes?
Every 5 minutes. So at most, unfortunately, he charges you double, but he can only do at most 20 silver within the 10-minute time frame to help you, which you'd have to pay then, which is equivalent to 2 gold. You'd have to be paying 4 gold for it.
Correct.
Now, as for Brenham is a generous sort, it states, and will be happy to exchange in copper large amounts for very small amounts. So basically, whatever coin you give Brenham, he will pay twice the amount in regards to copper. And Brenham has the ability to come to, as he points to himself, the bank and exchange any amount into copper.
What was my starting again? I have everyone else's but mine down.
You have 3 copper, 7 silver, and 10 gold.
So this is basically a puzzle game for Sam.
It is.
Can exchange for any value in copper. So Brenham can trade for anything in double value of copper, correct?
Correct. He is basically a fool of a seller. You offer him a silver piece, he will give you twice the amount in copper. So what would be 10 copper would be 20 copper. You give him a gold, which would be 100, he'll give you 200 in copper to the extent that he can afford in trade. In other words, you could drive him broke, as he's a very poor shop and merchant.
I see.
Whereas the other one is a very shrewd individual and also has very limited supply, so despite your demand, he may not always be able to meet it. Real simple business.
And
your job is to buy up what you need.
And he can exchange any value to the bank and get that much in copper?
Correct.
So,
if you were to, say, give him 3 gold in exchange for his copper, as long as he has sufficient funds, he could give you that 300 copper by exchanging his gold into copper to me, and I would supply him with adequate copper. And then he would gain the 3 gold from you, and you'd have 300 copper. Because he thinks that's a very good trade.
I see.
Although he would pay double, so your 3 gold of 300 would actually become 600, thus you'd gain the equivalent in copper of 6 gold. Because yet again, he's a fool.
And
no offense. It's merely what you're playing in regards to this game.
I only have a limit of 20 of, was it 10s or 20 silver?
20 silver total. You can only do 10 silver in trade per 5 minutes.
Here's my question to you then, as Sam looks at the man, John. Is there any special rules for me other than I must have 30 silver in coin or value?
Coin. You have to end with only 30 silver pieces. As you inquired, if you have a gold piece left over, if you have a copper piece left over, then you failed in your business transactions. Your company goes under, if you want to play this out in such an analogy, and you didn't pass the test.
What if he just has 3 gold? Isn't that the equivalent of 30s? No, that's 30.
But that's equivalent. That is not 30 silver pieces.
He would have the money amount, but he didn't acquire what was needed for his business transaction, and thus would fail.
But can any of us interact with the bank? Being you?
Oh, I'm sorry, but yes. Although your good friend there can only do in copper, and your other individual can only trade up to 10 silver pieces per 5 minutes. That's with anyone. He just charges double. So as the bank, I would have to pay out whatever he's asking in double the amount, but it can only be up to 10 silver. So if he wants to buy 10 silver from me, I'd have to pay twice that amount, but that would be his only transaction for the 5 minutes.
But can I interact with you without restriction? And would it be for straight value?
You can interact with me, but it changes per the color of the sand of what I trade.
Per the color of the sand?
Color of the sand.
It's probably copper sand, gold sand, and silver sand.
I must ask for
Which the sand looks completely white.
Wait, what?
Right now.
Sand in the hourglass, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And how does it change?
Randomly. Maybe under my will. You don't really know. It's the market. It fluctuates. What people want. And as for my trade, it varies per my taste. If, let's say, the sand turns copper, I'm not interested in what the market's interested in. I'm interested in gold. So I would only accept gold from you. If it turns silver, I would be interested in copper or gold. And if it turns gold, all I want is silver from you. And I flip a coin. If the coin lands heads, as he holds up a coin that he was holding in the palm of one of his hands, if it winds up heads, then I charge you triple. If it winds up tails, I give you a fair trade.
Alright, one moment, Michael. I'm going to write this down. If it's copper, he wants gold only. If silver is gold or copper. And if gold, then it's copper only?
If copper, gold only. If silver, copper or gold. And if gold, it is silver.
And that's
only.
what he's interested in.
That's what he's interested in, which that's dependent on the... So if you want to trade with him and it pops up silver, then he's willing to take copper or gold from you in trade. And then he flips a coin and he may charge you 3 times of the trade or 1 time of the trade, depending on 1 for 1 value or 3 for 1 value. So if you're trying to get silver from him and it comes up as copper, all he's going to want is gold from you and he will not trade. If it comes up silver, then you can get gold or copper from him. If it comes up gold, then you could trade him for silver, but if he flips the coin it's 3 times, then you have to pay 3 times the amount.
Alright.
I think the best bet is to try to get rid of your 3 copper as fast as possible.
You mean my 3 gold? But I have to use that to trade.
Well, no, you got 3 copper as well, I believe.
You have the 3 copper. I have 4 copper.
You have 4 copper?
I'm at 3 gold, 0 silver, 4 copper.
Okay. Yeah, you need to get rid of that copper. It'll be easier to get.
No, because I'll just get more copper if I trade with you.
Yeah, but then it'll be an even amount.
Which, looking over his money, even though he has it stacked all funny, he's got about 60 copper, 60 silver, and 45 gold. At which point he starts flipping over the cards to play solitaire. He goes, oh, one last thing of business. What you're trying to do is, as per this whole game, you're trying to get out of the country with the proper amount of money so you can start your business anew, as the country is going under. So, as the, points at himself again, the country and bank, I'm bleeding money. So, as time progresses, I lose more and more money that I have to trade. Understood?
Interesting.
So, in other words, you try to wait till the end, till it pops up silver and then get a bunch of gold to trade or something with him. Even though you could afford the times 3, he may not have any money left to trade, as the country may have gone under.
Oh my god, this is like one of those weird puzzles.
It's a mind game. Yeah.
I go question. Why?
Because this is a merchant guild. They are explorers and merchants. You've done exploring on the first test, and you've done some other related activities. So this is now coming to the merchant side.
The
to
second
test.
one was essentially a dungeon delve.
Yep.
Exploring.
You did outside, you did traveling, you did exploring. Now it's merchant side. Testing you on all the frontiers.
Test on all three. Fail
Are
at
there any final questions you have? As he has the paper folded over in his hand.
It is a 10-minute time, correct?
10-minute time. He's holding
What-
the paper with the top two folds open, bottom one closed.
Is there any other things to mention that you have not stated already?
Unfolds the bottom part finally. Let's see here. It said not to unfold it unless you asked. And
Good thing you asked.
yes. Apparently this is a 4-player game. And the fourth person is in charge of the bag. As he picks it up and sets it in front of Max. And zips it closed.
What, the bear?
A bear?
What are the contents of the bag?
Unknown. Although you can buy the bag and whatever is inside from, let's say, a black market or a friendly trader promising to help you out in exchange for 10 gold.
Quite the
I'll bear
wild
back real
card.
quick.
And you get what's inside the bag.
Interesting.
The fourth person is supposed to represent a friend or close family member or otherwise business partner. So considering the circumstances, they may be helpful. Then again, they may be out to screw you to save themselves in this scenario. And that is 10 gold value. So if you were to come up with it in copper or silver or otherwise, total between all three coin sets, you could then do so. Although I will tell you, your friend does become desperate, it says, after the 5-minute mark, and is willing to cut the price down in half.
But it can potentially screw me because I don't know what the contents are to make things better or worse.
Yes, your friend could be out to help you in your minute of need, or he could be out to swindle you and save himself from this declining economy and leave you holding the bag while he makes off with your money.
The other thing is also I have to have 30 silver and only 30 silver, which means if the bag contains a vast amount, I then have to figure out how to spend it, correct?
Correct.
I see. Quite an interesting and, I must say, difficult game you have
Most
set up.
definitely. Let us begin as he flips over the hourglass and starts playing solitaire.
Very well. First question is for you then. What are you interested in trading in now?
At which point he looks at the sand, puts a hand on top of the hourglass. No color. I'm currently not interested in anything. The market is perfectly fine as is, and the Empire travels on blissfully unaware of what's to come.
Fair. Sam then turns and says, and...
I'm back.
You're back?
I'm back.
Okay. 1 gold to you for the equivalent value in copper.
I would have to exchange to the bank for
which point you grab a gold and you double that in copper. So you'll just hand the bank pretty much 2 gold, dropping you down to 9 and putting Sam at 2 gold. And the bank will gain 2 gold
I knew it!
and give you double that amount in copper. So you will gain 200 copper?
No.
I'm at 203.
200.
No.
2 gold doubled is not 200
Wait.
copper.
Yep.
2 gold is 400 copper.
Yep. Boop, boop. Fixed. Because
So,
it's a 0 and a 0.
so he gets 400 copper, Michael?
You gave 1 gold,
I gave him 1 gold.
turns to 2 gold, which gold to silver is at a 0, 2 is 20,
Yeah.
and then add a 0 again, so that'd be 200 silver you end up getting, or 200 copper you get from him then.
Yes. I was asking
So
why you said he gives the bank 2 gold.
Yeah, he'd only give 1 gold
Yeah, I was going to say.
trade. So he's still at his 10 as you give 1 gold to him, and then he gives you 200 in copper.
Alright.
Which, as the individual basically counts as coins, and you see he starts depleting some of his coins as they turn into copper.
Which ones is he depleting?
You see he hands over all 60 of the copper he currently had as he takes off the roof. There is 60 coins. And then he will take 40 of his gold and knock that off, turning that straight into copper. So now that puts him at 100.
Wait, hold it. He takes
The coins
4
literally go from gold into copper coin.
Oh,
in
he
color.
transforms the coins. Okay.
Mhm.
Sorry, I was
Oh.
getting mixed up in what you were saying, Michael.
And then he takes the 60 silver he has, and as he slides them from one hand to the next, they become copper in color, putting it then at 160 in the pile. He goes back over to his 7 gold he has left and adds that to the total, at which point he has 167 coins in copper, which he gives to you. He then reaches over and takes from Brenham the 10 gold coins he has, takes them from one hand to the other to make them into copper coins. As you see where this is going.
Uh-huh.
He then reaches over and takes 10 copper and 10 silver from Ash,
Mhm.
making that 190 for you then. And then he goes back over and takes 5 silver and 5 copper. 5 copper from Ash and 5 silver from Brenham, giving you the 200 total, which leaves Brenham at 3 copper and 2 silver, and Ash at 9 silver, 1 gold, you at 204, 0 and 2, and the bank at broke. At which point he just sort of looks at you and goes, "Don't you love supply and demand?" So much for inflation.
True. I look at the
Which one?
hourglass. What color is it now?
At which point it is still white, as he just sort of looks at it. And he just goes on playing solitaire. Which point a minute passes, he looks over at the hourglass, there's a little tap on top, and it shifts over to copper.
And does he flip a coin?
If you're trading with him,
That's what I had to check.
he only flips on that.
So I will offer a trade to Ash of, let me see, it's double, so
Yeah, whatever
40
you give me.
copper for 2
40.
silver from him.
Okay, I give you the 2 silver. Or would it be 4 silver?
No, 2 because you charge double.
Okay, 2 silver, here you are.
Alright, that's 4.
So you can only do 8 silver more within the next 4 minutes.
Correct. Eight silver more.
At which point the guy just keeps playing solitaire as he keeps looking over.
I've got 160, so sorry, I'm having to do math. And
I have 2 silver on me.
yes, but you can only give copper.
I can trade. I'm allowed to trade with Shig, though. No?
But he charges double.
Oh. Yeah, you got a point there.
And has
I don't have enough
amount
copper for
limit.
that.
I will trade another 60 copper for. Let me see. No, that's has to be double. So 140 copper for 7 silver. Because he charges double.
If I give you the silver, and I guess I have to wait for 5 minutes now, don't I?
No,
Oh, no, not yet.
because that is not 10 gold worth.
Oh, right.
Or 10 silver worth. Wait, hold it.
Because you've given him your 200 pretty much.
I'm stopping to think.
So that'd
that
be
would be giving
20.
200. That would be 20. Yeah, I'm doing that.
So you'd be taking the 9 silver from him, and he would still owe you a silver coin, which he doesn't have.
No, I gave him 180.
180. Okay, so right for the 9. Beautiful.
Yes. No debt
Okay, let's
owed because
say
I don't know
try
when
and
I'll get
get-
it back. But that breaks his 10 silver for the first 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's actually now 18 silver. But because it was all one transaction, it counts for the first 5 minutes.
Yep. So done deal. That'll basically put him at rest for the next 5 minutes. You can't utilize him.
Correct. But he has now a 180 copper.
And 1 gold.
Correct, and we've already found out that he can change hands as long as it's not in my pile.
Mhm.
And the bank can simply just take. And since the value is currently copper, I will inquire with John as to what the trade value is currently with him. Since you're interested in gold, sir.
Very well. He will flip a coin and doing roll 20, 1d2. 2. 1 for 1 trade. So basically, whatever you give him in copper, he will give it to you in gold.
If
Equal
the value is
exchange.
copper, that means he only wants gold.
Yeah. So yeah, he would flip flop with you. So yeah, you give him the gold, he gives you equivalent in copper.
Okay.
So you give him 1 gold, he'll give you 100 copper coins. 1 for 1.
Alright.
Not going to charge you to where it'd be like 3 gold to only get 100 copper coins.
Yeah.
Then you could offload your gold in exchange for a buttload of copper.
Correct, and screw everything up, because if I wanted that, I could get a better value from Brenham and not have that problem. Because for Brenham, it's a 1 to 2.
I think I'm broke right now.
That can be fixed.
Almost.
That can be fixed. Alright, I have 4 copper. 24. Hold on. Doubles. Doubles. Brenham,
Mm-hmm.
24 copper to you in exchange for 48 copper.
I only have 2 silver and 3 copper right now, correct?
Yep.
If I did the math right.
At which point,
So
then it
I'd
goes
exchange my 2 silver for 40 copper, right? Or is it 20 copper?
to Michael to the bank.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he would
24 copper from me to Brenham and get 48 back, correct?
any copper is double for him. So you'd basically be using him to, hey, I got a great deal for you. I'll give you $2. You give me 4. Sounds like a great deal.
Sure.
This is why druids don't do banking.
Right?
Correct. But, Michael, here's the fun fact. He doesn't have 48, so how does that work now?
He will take the 24 you gave him, and that will disappear.
7.
Oh
And then
shit,
he'll
you
have to
get
come up
nothing.
with 24 more coins, which he'll take from the copper of the other individual, which you gave to Ash. He'll reach over and take 24 of that 180 and hand it back to you as he depletes it from Ash's pile.
So, I gained 48, correct?
You gained 48. You lost 24. You gained 48.
Correct.
So you doubled your copper. In exchange, you pretty much brought Brenham down to 3 copper pieces, basically completely broke.
Alright. I will now
And-
exchange 1 copper piece to him for 2 from him.
So you'll bring him down to 1 copper.
This is sounding a lot like 7, the simple part of it.
And, because I needed to get to an even number. So now I
Yeah.
have a flat 50 copper.
Mm-hmm. And let's see.
And copper for gold. Has the hourglass changed so far?
It has, in fact, as he gives it a little tap. And it switches over to gold this time.
I will inquire to him as to what the value is now.
Three times.
Ooh.
So
I
it
w-
cost me 3 gold to get 10 silver, correct?
Yes.
Alright.
So you'd have to literally give him gold coins, and he would give you silver in exchange.
And Ash is the only one that has a gold left.
No.
Yeah, he's still in his. I guess he's still in timeout.
It's at the 5-minute mark as it rolls over now. As John looks as he stops, waiting, and then gives a nod in your direction. Congratulations, you can do business once more. And then continues on with his game of solitaire.
So, John, If I give you
One
gold,
moment.
what value do I get out of you in silver?
Oh, one moment. Taxes.
Taxes?
Taxes.
From
I'll
who?
need the equivalent of 5 silver from everyone in any form of payment,
I hand him
as the
50
country
gold.
is going broke and needs money.
I give
Oh,
him
I'm sorry.
50 copper.
He takes the 50 copper from you and gains 50 copper. He takes 50 copper from Ash. And he takes 1 copper from Brenham, goes, I'm sorry, you're broke. You have to go to jail since you can't pay your taxes, because that's how evil the country is. So you are out of the game, my friend.
I'll bow out. Hey, Max, you're still here. You're good. You're not very
There's a
bright,
little
though.
growl.
It's
No.
Lord Barrington.
The bank now has 101. Ash has about 104 and 1 gold. And Sam is sitting at 9 silver and 2 gold. And it is solid gold trade for silver.
Is
at
it a 1 to
3
1?
times the value.
Or at 3 times the value?
3 times value. So 3 gold would basically give you the equivalent of 1 gold and silver.
Alright.
It's a bear and bull market.
What?
No, the bear's going to be unbearable.
No. It's a stock market term.
Yeah, I don't do stock market shit in reality. So whatever you're saying doesn't make no
All I
sense.
know is I'm helping. All I
The
know is I'm
bull
trying to
bear
help.
line is the index average.
All I know is I'm trying to help Sam help with this math shit.
That indicates between the stock markets. That's all I have to say.
This is giving me a headache.
Same. And I was keeping track of it all, too.
Well, I've still kept track of it all, and I've realized I have failed.
Oh no.
No, you still have Max. It might be your best
He needs
bet.
5 gold for that.
At the half point, he could buy it for a half.
Exactly. It was 10, now it's down to 5 gold.
Oh.
Correct. However, there's one catch I think the rest of y'all have missed.
Hmm.
To get anything from Ash, I have to spend 2 to 1.
Yeah.
The
You're not
bank is
getting that
currently
anymore.
3 to 1. There is no way currently to get increased value outside of Brenham, who went broke and is gone.
Buy me back in.
That is a
I don't know if
question.
it works that
As
way.
I then turn to John, is there a way to get Brenham out of jail?
You would have to pay his taxes.
49 copper.
He owes 49 copper to the church, the bank, whatever way you wish to put it into an analogy.
I see.
At which point you could bring him back with no money, but you could bring him back.
And if he comes back,
Double you would offer despite the fact of having no money.
and
And would wind up right back in jail since he couldn't pay the bank. But you would net double profit.
I see.
Technically evil, but this is all hypothetical, so no one's actually suffering.
True.
Yes, to the dark side.
Evil doggo.
This is just basically a D&D version of Monopoly. I just realized.
Yes. So then, here's what I would like to do. Pay Brenham's bill, as it is, or bail. Get him out. That'll be 49 copper, correct?
Correct.
So then, as a value of 5 silver, that nets me 1 copper back, and he is paid for. Correct?
Correct.
So, he is back in now.
Happy to be free and on the outside with no money.
And I'm going to make poor Brenham go broke again.
Oh my.
That's fine.
I'm a very helpful friend. I didn't say I was the nicest of friends.
Well, after the 5 minutes up, he'd have to pay taxes again, so he's going to wind up there anyway.
Exactly.
It's only theoretical jail, I think.
Fair.
True.
Very true. I don't think anything in Ebunstalt is quite this cruel in actuality.
Good news. Now, here's the question. Does he go to jail immediately if he goes negative?
If he's unable to do the trade, then
God.
yes, he would. He'd be able to do one trade, and then he'd have to pay the bank for the difference that he took his loan out for. And since he can't, he would go to jail because he basically took money that he can't pay back. So it'd be one of those one-shot, make it count before you send your friend off.
Yep. And how many coins does John have on his pile at the moment?
101 in copper. Which obviously he would convert it into whatever he needs with a wave of a hand.
That turns into 101, 102. Alright. And what is the hourglass at the moment, Michael?
Still at the same color.
So it is currently gold?
It is golden.
Alright. Then to Brenham, 1 gold, 1 copper converts to 101 in copper for a double of 202 to me.
Which point the bank will wave his hand over the money, multiply it, change the colors as needed, and hand it over to you as he slides it toward Brenham, and then slides it over to you, and then sort of gives an unfortunate sign, says, and back to jail as you can't pay what you borrowed from me.
It helped her out, at least.
Up to you again, Max.
Now, Michael, did you just say the amount on the table multiplied?
He gave you what you needed in coin-wise.
Okay, because he would have had to take some of that from Ash.
Oh, Ash is missing money.
Yep, okay, just making sure.
Yep. He basically waves his hands, takes what he needs from Ash, changes the color, changes the amount of coin, and hands it on over. Boop.
So, 3.4.2 does that. That will net me 3 gold converts to 15, 19. Huh, not enough. So then pay off shit. Has the hourglass changed?
Minutes go by, you're at the 7-minute mark, he gives it a little tap, and it has changed to copper again.
Okay. And what is the conversion rate at this time?
Uh-oh.
1 for 1. So, even trade.
Copper for gold. I will trade him 200 copper to get 2 gold.
Done.
Idea. Oh god.
You're not here.
I know, I'm not there, but it was something else.
Uh-oh. Scary stuff.
How much in the way of coin does John have right now?
He seems to be hanging on to 1 copper.
And what about the rest?
He seems to only have 1 copper. No silver or gold.
And Ash has how much?
He's pretty much sitting on his, done the math right, 4 copper and 1 gold.
Looks about right. And I've got 3 gold, 4 silver, 2 copper.
Yep.
Sam looks at John. Question.
Yes, indeed.
If it is required to escape at the end with 30 gold, is it not possible to simply escape early?
That's true. If you could leave sooner, probably the better.
And what would the value have to be at that point if it was early?
I would imagine far less. 3 minutes left out of 10. So you take the full 10 to need 20. Kind of do the math from there.
So 10 to 20. So I've got 3 left, so that would be 6, correct?
16 out of the 20 then. So, or 14 then. 14 silver is all you'd need out of the 20.
All I need is 14 silver? Currently? To escape, correct?
Oh, wait, no. Sorry, I was thinking 20. You need 30 to escape, so divide by 3. So, with 3 minutes, that'd be 9, so you'd need 21.
21. Damn, if I'd thought about this before, I'd have won. Alright, so that to that to that to that. Alright, how much does it take to break Brenham out of jail? 101 copper, correct?
Correct.
Alright. Then I will pay his 101 with 1 gold, 1 copper.
This is supposed to be so much easier with both you and Kazu here to exchange among yourself freely.
Yep. So, pay him, break him out.
Welcome to the outside again, Brenham.
Thank you.
So I need 21.
John's then got the money.
So I need... One moment, Michael, I'm doing math. So, 2 to 1 ratio. 2 to 1, so... God damn it, I'm trying to do math. 1 from me to Brenham is 2, correct?
Correct.
And then to Ash, it's 2 from me to his 1.
Correct.
So if I gave 1 gold worth to Brenham, that's 200 copper, which I then give to Ash, that's 10 silver, correct?
Of course, if I give you
1
the 10
gold
silver,
converts to 2, which then converts back to 1, right?
Correct.
if I give you the 10 silver, I'm out for the rest of the game, I think.
Oh.
He'd have to get his money converted from to that to silver by John, which would give him enough to do that. You'd have still your 1 gold left. So yeah, you'd be okay. You'd pretty much be sitting right back where you were.
I know, and that's why I'm like,
You'd
alright.
be good.
Sitting right back where I am. If I had thought about this sooner, I'd have just had enough to bail out early. I forgot to ask the one question.
So glad I'm not doing this, other than just helping you.
Well, it's time to be an asshole.
You're free. You're in jail again.
Yep, he's going right back in fucking jail. So, Michael, I paid the 1 gold, 1 silver to break him out. I'm paying 2 gold to Brenham to get 400 copper.
Ooh. Alrighty.
Which then
You have
is,
what?
as John goes to start making the exchange, which is then going to Ash for 20 silver.
104. for 20 silver. Then takes the money off from there. So you have, God, so
24
much
silver
copper right now, but you have 24 silver
and 1 copper.
and 1 copper.
And how much is it to escape right now, John? Because I think we're on the 8-minute now, correct?
You would be at the 8-minute mark, which 30 gold is what you need. Minus every minute is 3. So it'd be
minus
6.
2 minutes
So you
is
need
6 is
24.
24. I pay the 1 copper to help break Brenham out of jail, which is not enough, and pay 24 silver to get out. And
Donating
that's exact.
the money. And looks over at the stop at the clock, turns it sideways to stop it, and you are free to go. Brenham had a little bit of payment made to him as charity, but it is not to get him out of jail. And you escape. Well played.
Thank you.
That's too fucking difficult.
It was supposed to be 100 times simpler. The bag was basically going to be left in his lap instead of Max's. You were only going to have 5 minutes, but it was the two of them working together as business partners to try to get out. They can either screw one over to ensure one gets out, or they can work together to try to buy and trade, which they can trade amongst themselves without penalties.
Actually, it would have been far simpler if I had asked the one question. How much does it take to get out early?
Would have
If I
been a lot
had-
cheaper to get out of Dodge.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Because once I knew that number, all I have to do is dial down my money by putting Brenham in jail, getting him out, which subtracts, which gets me more copper, but then I turn around, dose it to Shig,
Mm-hmm.
which if I make a large transaction all in one, it breaks his 10 silver limit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's
man.
10 silver, 10 plus in 5
Honest-
minutes.
Yeah, dealing with the bank, honestly, is the part where you're either wasting your time hoping for the best, which honestly will screw you, or it could work out to your advantage if things happen to fall in place, like it did with the 1-for-1. But honestly, waiting on the bank is basically meant to waste your time.
I was checking it every now and then to see if a good deal would pop up, otherwise I didn't care.
You had one? Yeah. If you were planning on it, basically, I'm going to get everything, I'm just going to wait for it to happen. I'm just going to wait. It's like,
No,
happen,
you
man.
don't wait. You do what you can to make the best you can, as quickly as you can. If a good deal pops up, you grab it.
At which point he takes the sack, slides it open, slides the remaining coins into the bag, seals it up, and slides it on the table. At which point he stands up, goes over to you, shakes your hand. Well played.
Thank you.
Shall we proceed over to the next course of action? If you'll all stand and follow me.
Did he take the bag back from Max?
That's what I'm wondering.
He put the
damn.
bag, slide all the money into it, and then he put it underneath the table.
Okay, just checking. Otherwise, Max is still sitting there with the bag in his hands.
That bear probably
Mouth.
won't give it up. 42 would have gone through the bag at this
Oh,
point.
42
easily.
would have torn the bag to shreds. Let's be honest. Would have shredded that
and
sucker.
While you're doing your little exchange over 10 minutes, the other individuals, over the course of 20, with 15 minutes to spare, will arrive at their location, hop off the train, take a nice little 10-minute walk to their location, and be there 10 minutes ahead of time.
Meanwhile, having a conversation about killing someone with kindness.
I'm reading back through it all.
Such a mess.
Something about tattoos and letters and shit.
Well, if Seven can't communicate verbally, like human, like have words appear on her skin or fur.
Like, here's an idea. Why not transform into a dog? You're a
I
changeling.
can't transform into a dog, you dipshit.
You're a changeling. What's...
Humanoid. Druid, changeling, animal, and humanoids.
I take all the fun flavors. I mean shapes.
If only he could be... If only Seven could become a knife.
Oh no, no more knives.
No,
When is enough?
by going shapeshifter, she can't pull off Naya.
She has all kinds of other fun without limitations to transform. All day, every day.
Yeah,
Which
my
point-
crew is going to be limited.
You will proceed and you will arrive at the Silent Whisper, as it's in Noble District and a lovely, beautiful place.
She will head into an alleyway and shift back into her female form.
Excellent. No problems there. Streets are pretty clean in Noble District, and not many people go ducking behind any alley or storeways. And you're able to change form, change clothing, and good to go.
And she walks in with 7 in tow.
Yay!
At which point you'll walk inside. Doorman will greet you, open the door for you, lady. Animal.
It's my companion.
Which point waiter will come walking up. Seats for 2.
Yes.
Excellent. If you follow me to the back room, please. Which point he leads you down the hall to where the restroom is. And as
Oh,
you go
no.
back there, he'll then go over to the kitchen door and open it up and tell you to go on in.
She heads in.
You'll see them cooking and everything, and one of the chefs will basically hand you a bowl with water in it and point over to a back door with a bunch of locks on it. He just waves you with a knife off as he goes back to cooking. Waiter will just close the door and head back to the front. As you're basically in the back kitchen, as people are running around and cooking, and there's a heavily locked door, and you're holding a bowl of water.
She will set it on the ground and take a closer look at the lock.
There are about 6 different padlocks, all of which appear to be unlocked.
Oh. She'll pick up the water and then walk in the door.
Open the door and head on in, and Devin will follow.
Yes.
I thought I was going to get tested on whether or not I could pick locks or not.
Which point you proceed in, you come to a dark wooden floored room with a nice beautiful table and several seats, and it's decorated with pictures and weapons on the wall and mounted animal heads. It looks more like a lodging, and there are people with weapons, playing cards, instruments, talking going on. It looks like you just actually walked into a thieves guild.
Which is exactly what you did.
Well, 7. I guess this is a case of come home.
Which point an individual walks up to you. Thanks for the bottle. Which point takes the bowl from you, flips it over, and it becomes a bottle of wine. Pops the top on it, reaches behind himself, pulls out 3 glasses, pours a little bit of alcohol into the 3. Snap of his wrist, the bottle disappears. Hands you a glass, holds the other one for 7, sets it down in front of him, takes the 3rd one, and as he takes a sip, throws his head back forward. You see Rigger standing there. Welcome, one and all.
7's gonna help himself to his glass.
Still will take a sip of hers.
You're among friends. Well, associates here. Which point an individual comes walking up, goes, they're the ones from the boat. Pleasure, as the lady goes walking by. Now, Victoria, be nice. as Rigger's response. Don't worry, you may meet some familiar faces and other newer faces. But before I start showing you around the place and you get to meet individuals, first things first. I promised a Q&A section, so any questions? Let's go to a back room, shall we? After all, got some rewards to hand out. As he starts walking by some people, throwing darts, and
Oh.
flings
just
open a door. Please proceed in.
She follows.
Seven's gonna try to pick up his glass and take it with him.
Is it going to be like that picture that the cat is like morphing on like the post of the fence?
Too bad you can't grow a monkey. Too bad you can't grow a monkey tail or something.
I was gonna say it's more like the dogs that was like, I'm not done with this wine yet. I'm taking this with me.
Roll me a reflex. See if you can manage to keep your head sideways while holding that in your teeth without breaking it or spilling it.
That's the wrong thing.
Nice. You don't get disoriented, you don't spill it, you don't crush it. You navigate just fine past people as they see the dog holding the glass. One individual up on the second floor, up in the balcony section where there's more seating, just looks over the side and goes, talented little dog. Lady's doing well for herself.
If only he knew. If only, if only.
That's what I was thinking of.
It's a polecat.
At which point you proceed into the room. Riggers close the door behind him as you're in a small conference room with about 7 chairs. There's a small cup of water, a vase to pour more water out into several glasses, a bottle of wine, a small thing of dwarven whiskey, all capped and set up on a little table. And he just pulls out a chair and takes a seat. He flips his cape to one side for his cloak and goes, "So, to business, since we have privacy, as much as one can expect in a place full of, well, fellow guild members and thieves."
Seven, I think it would be wise to shift form that way so you can not really respond with barks and chirps.
This will be a good way to get some answers for you, and also so you can make your decision on what I give you.
He's just going to blankly stare at Istella and just hop up into one of the chairs while trying not to spill the... You know what? No, he's going to put the drink up on the table and then jump up into the seat.
Estella just kind of like pinches her nose, like the bridge of her nose. Like,
And this is
Riggers.
the moment I need Sam.
Stands up with a smile, goes over to the part where the glasses are and everything, grabs a small bowl, which is used to clean your hands in, and a towel, throws a towel aside, pours the water out into another bowl, takes the bowl over, sets it in front, takes the glass from Seven, pours it into the bowl, and then takes the glass and just sets it aside, then takes a seat again.
And at that point, a happy Seven's just going to lap from the bowl.
A courteous gentleman.
Estella will ask Seven, should we tell him about your little friend, referring to the gentleman that was following them? Well, following Seven.
Seven's going to look at her and just blink a couple times like, huh?
Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Plain dumb.
What you talking
Better-
about, Willis?
Better roll that bluff, Jack.
want to roll an intimidation. It's just like, really, don't pull this shit on me.
How about you learn to keep your mouth shut as a rogue?
Ow!
Ooh.
Too bad you can't say that because you're a doggo.
That will go straight to for the heart or for the throat in Seven's case.
Intimidate. Fun.
It's a D20 plus wisdom mod plus level.
Yep. So D20 plus 4 plus wisdom bonus, if any. And if you had any bonuses against fear. Can you resist it?
Just a mother, bitch. We need to do something about this.
Oh, this one wouldn't be the
Salty
mothery
sea
look.
lady.
This is just the look of bitch, please. Remember, you're not playing the mother character.
Pirate.
Did she actually roll intimidate?
Yeah.
21. She rolled it.
What was it?
21.
D20. To counter it, it's a D20 plus your level, plus your wisdom bonus, plus any saves you have against fear. So for the most part, it's going to come down to a D20 plus dice, which you managed to get a 17 out of 20, which unfortunately is enough to shaken you for a round, as you're just all of a sudden Stella gets really serious with you. But that fades.
Once it fades, Seven's going to essentially shift form then and be in an awkward position and just look at Istella. If you don't know how to keep your mouth shut, I don't want to work with you.
It's more...
All you've done is not be a rogue.
Riggers just sort of looks in amusement with a serious face and then just responds, well, technically we do hire people that aren't thieves to join.
Yes,
Not really
but you
a
don't know how
prerequisite.
much I have to hear about her boasting about how she's good at her job when if somebody even looks her way, suddenly they get the answer they're looking for.
Well, at least she's not as bad as her captain. That guy can't keep his mouth shut about anything.
Too arrogant. Now, if you want to keep dealing with me, Istella, you'll learn when to keep your mouth shut.
Fine. I'm just concerned about the situation.
Situation. Here I thought this was just a question and answer section. Are there problems that need to be addressed?
No, it's fine.
No, honestly, we're all friends here.
I can hear that air quote on that.
Seven's just gonna look over at Riggers, and then he's gonna give out a little sigh. I'll talk with you in private about it, but it honestly does not concern Miss Istella here, and what she doesn't know will potentially save her.
You do look out for each other quite well. And here I thought you were running into problems.
Personally, I'd like to know what's against us, but if that's the case, fine.
Sometimes not knowing is better.
Exactly.
Yeah, I prefer not to be so blissful.
Fair
When you're
enough.
chained up and being questionably questioned in a manner I do not wish to think of, you'll at least not know what they're talking about.
Fine.
We wouldn't do that to any new initiates.
It's
But
not
fair
true
enough,
I'm
sometimes it's
concerned
better
about.
not to know what's in the box, instead to open it and find a symbol of pain which kills you, or to not know what's behind the door and get mauled by a large bear.
See, and that's why in Pathfinder, Spiritualist is my favorite class, because you get a phantom to glitch the fuck out of the system.
And at that point, even though he's in his human form, Seven's going to lean over and laugh out of the bowl.
So, since we've gotten past this unknown danger that one does not know about by the other protecting the other, and honestly, you're initiate, so it doesn't really concern the guild, what can I do for you in regards to any questions you might have that need to be answered immediately and that falls within your pay grade to know?
Exactly what is our pay grade?
Initiate?
Exactly.
I mean, I know that's initiate. 7.
This one catches on.
I swear to God.
Just imagine her maniacally laughing while she's licking out the bowl in human form.
Yep.
Again, Pitch's nose. I meant. Never mind.
Should we move over to the rewards for reaching an initiate first? And go from there, shall we?
Sure.
Excellent. Which point he goes to the door, opens it, and there's 2 large boxes sitting there, which point he brings them on in, closes the door back, sets them on top of the table, and goes to open them up, goes, okay, here we are. Gave us some variety this time. Always a plus. So, I would have to ask, across your chest or around your waist? Preferences.
Depends on form?
What she said.
8 versus 6? I mean, he holds it up in one hand. Got a bandolier, holds 8 items, about the size of a dagger. Other one holds 6 potions. Quick and easy access. Preference? Bandolier, belt of potions, without any potions in it. Yes, no, no.
Flipping coins?
It doesn't really suit my form.
Uh,
Typical form.
I was like, I'll take anything I can get, honestly.
I mean, if that one doesn't want it and she still, wants it and then gives you hers, you could have one of each. Or she could just sell hers and, make a little money or keep it for when she's less hairy.
Psst, give it to Sam.
Hey, you didn't earn this reward. That's entirely up to Doggo.
I know.
Probably sell it for the money if he even wants it.
True.
Which one costs more?
So,
I'll take the waste. I know
value?
chest objects can get cluttered.
The bandolier holds more, but honestly, its value and material is less. The potion belt has flaps and better leather material, so it costs about twice as much. So, gold versus 5 silver. So, 1 potion belt for the not-so-dog. There you are, 7, as he slides it across the table. And another belt for the young Istella. As don't want anything to get in the way of your chest. At which point both you get a potion belt, which holds up to 6 potions, and it's a free action once per round to draw said potion.
7 for the participation of getting this thing and storing it. He's just going to equip it.
That means I can go and buy more grenades. I mean, alchemist fires. Right, alchemist fires.
Alchemist fires are actually flasks, which are larger than a potion. Acid flask, the acid vials are actually potion size since they're in vials and would fit.
Still, more bombs.
Yeah, the bandolier would hold things up to the size of a dagger, which would count as a flask. So you could have 8 alchemist fires all strung together on it.
I mean, there was that one time that I just threw an entire belt into a room, so...
Basically the same thing as the bandolier and then let them all go boom.
Yeah.
Well, I almost chunked a necklace of fireballs in one game.
Also good. Alright, so hands over the belts. Okay, takes care of that. Moving on to the bigger and better things. First payout. Hands you both a small little thin coin. And you get 50 coin each. 50 gold coins each. And then he reaches back into the bag and hands you 3 elixirs each, which are labeled on the side in common, small print. You get an elixir of sneaking, an elixir of hiding, elixir of vision.
Dum.
Woo!
And then he also hands you a small little crystal. This will help you with any lock picking, although only good once, so make it count. As you get a skill shard of disable device.
Nice.
And then last but not least, hands a nice little golden armband over to Seven and a little brooch over to Istella.
We'll take a look at the brooch.
He then uncrumbles a small little sheet of paper and hands it over to you, and another one over to Seven. This contains the instructions and means of activation of said item. Which point, Seven will have been given an armband of elusive action, whereas Istella will be given a wink brooch.
Oh, wink.
Wink, as in winking.
Oh, winking.
Alright, and there's PM to you for that, and then for the other, then a PM to Lydia for your little goodies. Boop. That way you have the pages and values.
Thank you.
All stuff. Elusive action helps you pretty much avoid one attack of op for all intents and purposes. The winking brooch gives you bonuses to, well, certain skills that are useful to people who lie and do other questionable things.
Ow,
So
fuck.
you'll be able to avoid one attack of opportunity that would otherwise occur thanks to your armband, which I guess you could slide the golden armband up your doggo arm and it would fit. And have a nice little accessory while you stay in doggo form.
And what happens if it pops out of doggo form?
Then it would go onto the humanoid body. Back in doggo form, it would stay on the humanoid form and get suppressed.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
At that point, he's going to put the armband, like, on the table, so that way when he shifts form, it'll go back.
And then the winking brooch is a nice little ruby set with the head of a straight pin, twinkling like the lights of a gnome with a secret. What it allows you to do is it functions 3 times per day, and it gives you a +2 bonus on a single bluff or diplomacy check before the end of your turn. Swift action to use. The armband is an immediate action, of course, since it protects you from being attacked. And that will basically be your little hunter, your initiate, Umbral Hoodie goodness. Which point he's like, okay, those are out of the way, as he takes the boxes and just sort of slides them off the table as they crash to the ground with stuff in them. Now, where were we? Alright, questions and answers. Anything you would like to know? ladies and gentlemen.
Are you guys also heading out on the weird fuck Christ, I can't English.
The expedition?
That.
Which expedition do you mean? You mean like some of the little missions out and about, gathering information in our kingdom?
Yes, gathering information from.
Like by land or sea?
My understanding is that there's big old journey that's going to be happening. Is it tomorrow or today? I forget.
Tomorrow morning.
Yes, that one.
Some of us will be participating in it, although it doesn't quite pertain to what we do. We are involved.
Is it okay if that could be our first mission? Because I sadly have to go along with it due to my captain's contracts.
Captain has a deal to sell out there.
Yes.
I would have to assume that he's either brave or insane individual, and hopefully has a good enough crew to navigate the treacherous waters.
Yes. Well, he's both. He's bravely insane, if you will.
Well, I assume someone must have requisitioned his ship, or somehow he got involved with one of the guilds to set sail out there.
Yes.
If I was more of a curious sort and it pertained to things, I'd probably look into that very peculiar situation, but, well, not my job, and definitely above my pay grade.
Oh.
Well, is there anything you can have us do? Because I don't know about you, but sitting around drinking, while it's nice, I like to keep my teeth sharp.
Sending you out there would be a little reckless at your position, but then again, it's why we're required to recruit people, as loss of life is high risk out there, and some people look at it as throwaway troops. Although personally, I think that's what the mercenaries are for that we're hiring, and adventurers who are throwing their life on the line for some noble, high-priced task.
What mercenaries are you hiring?
Few local, few out of state, promise of big money when they return, which most likely, with all the mercenaries we're hiring, we probably, well, from our standpoint, we've speculated less than 20% will probably return. So, between that and some adventurers involved and people with marks that are a little too curious, we have some church support, and those will all be headed out there, along with representatives from the guild, which, seeing as you're already headed out there, I really can't stop you from going. Might just make the most use of it then, and have you do an activity out there, along with one of our own.
Can you give us any information on the place that we are going to?
Ideally, what the guilds are looking for in a cooperative action, at the request of the lords, is to dig up some old information. Apparently, among that cursed land, the great capitals had a wealth of magic and knowledge, but kind of pales considering how many years ago that was to nowadays. But they did have one thing of great importance, and that is they had a fantastic library of knowledge. More important of which is they had a seer who could peer into the futures and had a collective knowledge of the gods that was bestowed upon him. He was an oracle of sorts. And this individual kept his own section of the library under lock and key at the request of the king. So, in the infinite wisdom of our lords, we are to mount an expedition and tried to raid such ancient, old, burnt libraries to hope to get some kind of insight or knowledge into our predicament, as the seer could see far into the future and past with great clarity that maybe something of value is there. Although, if I were to be honest with you, as he looks around, this is all a giant lie. And that most of the people going on this mission will never return, as it's all falsehood to basically appease the people, at which we're going to be telling them. The honest truth is we're headed up there to go see a god. We're going to go up to the hill to where the two kingdoms waged their last battle, and the gods simply were fed up with it among their pettiness and struck both armies dead. But as punishment for their own arrogance, they left behind the rulers of the kings to basically stand there and play out an infinite game of chess and basically wage infinite torment upon them for their arrogance and troubling nature. Though it's said that the gods occasionally poke their heads in to see how the kings are going and see if they can finally get over their own arrogance. We're hoping to run into such an avatar and seek pity and ask for some insight to find some miracle cure for this act of Vecna, because after all, to overcome a god, you would need a god, or at least something of said power, maybe a magic token or artifact hidden away that we could be poked into the direction of. Because
But
surely
even
the gods
then-
would not want to see another kingdom fall into rubble and ruin. Honestly, the first one sounds a lot more believable and achievable than the second one, and thus why we tell such stories to the people on the day of our departure.
Man, where's a god when you need one?
Well, out on a cursed island for one place. Otherwise,
If they
roundabout
even
pertain to be
exist.
people, birds, individuals of importance, unseen entities, whatever the gods wish to be. So we seek to go walk into the middle of an undead horde and seek an audience for some insight and solution to our problem.
Sounds like a death trap,
Yes,
if I want to be
mildly
completely
so.
honest.
Yeah, the first one starts to seem a lot more believable and acceptable in the eyes of this. But it's all we have to go on, and even if one person comes back from the island with a tidbit of information to point us in a direction of something that can break the curse of a god upon a whole populace, then it's a lot better, especially considering what the curse entails after such information was uncovered.
Well, should we start writing our suicide notes?
I have no
Last
note to
will.
write.
That's why most of our operatives are not going or pertaining to holding the beachfronts or other activities, because a skilled rogue can't slit the throat of that which no longer has a throat, and can't sneak across an open wasteland when there is nothing to hide behind.
I have a question for you. Do you have any insight on what's on the center of the island?
The very heart of it,
Yes.
no clue. If such an individual knows, they're probably some high-ranking mage or similar seer who's probably spied into that hellish pit. If they didn't go insane, then who knows what horror they saw. But ideally, it would probably be some massive army of undead waging war and the people suffering in spiritual form, unable to leave that island, cursed by the gods for what they did.
Welcome to a necropolis.
So, two gods, each worshipped by a separate kingdom. Petty. Kingdoms waged war, gods got sick of it, the people kept waging wars, the gods ended it and regretted their actions, but couldn't undo it, so they left the people to suffer and hopefully reach a conclusion that would give the gods comfort. As the story goes, at least.
Yay. And that's where we're going to end up going. Wonderful.
So, any other questions? While you're there, you'd probably get assigned to the beachfront or whatever representative, which will contact you when you arrive. Will see to assign you to a not suicidal walking up the middle of the hill or going to the proverbial burnt down library, which is going to have nothing in it mission.
So, the unfortunate part about this
Yes.
is our mission that a certain someone's captain accepted was to go into the center of the island.
One of the capitals.
Hence why I was curious about the center.
Center is where all the battles took place, and it's supposed to be so battle scarred and littered with corpses that you'll be walking over the dead, they say, and the rivers actually run red with blood, even to this day. Yet again, so the stories go.
So the stories go.
It's been
I
several
wonder if it's
hundred years.
toxic to consume.
Most of the island is pretty much a barren, inhospitable, no drinking water, no plant life, nothing survives, and the surrounding water is so toxic, it's said that you can't sail a ship through it.
Well, as long as we don't wind up going into different planes, I think we'll be fine.
Oh, no planar travel to worry about, just an inhospitable wasteland fueled by the hateful spirits of every dead citizen that lived between the two kingdoms.
Before we're forced to try time travel again.
Let's do the time warp again.
Please
Everyone else, oh my god, please.
So, Istella, 7. Considering what you know, which is considered the lowest bit of information given out to initiates and the next tier. And the rest I can't tell you further, and some of which I don't know and honestly wouldn't want to know about that place. Aside from your unfortunate destination and one you chose for yourself, which I'm curious about your captain even more, and who would be able to assign such a task outside the guilds, unless he's doing this on behalf of one of the other guilds, which opportunity abounds there, but I wouldn't recommend sticking your neck out for anything. What else, ladies?
Do you
and
mind if I speak to you alone, Withers?
Looks all right, Stella. Anything you'd need to speak to me alone with, Estella, or have questions about?
I do not have any questions or these necessities. I will take my leave. She gives a courtly bow and heads out.
Beautiful. If you see Victoria, tell her that we're even now for that little impersonation of myself she did during the pit section of your third trial and up through the little mental exam.
Wait, was Victoria was that bitch that in like almost right?
Are you
wasn't
asking the
incur-
DM or are you asking Riggers?
I'm asking DM.
Okay.
Okay, good.
I was be worried.
The one on your ship that showed up? Yes.
Oh,
And also one that was pretending to be Riggers in front of the whole party, smoking a pipe while when you did the first mission, and then when you went to do the second one, you were with the old man instructor. That was the actual Riggers, so the first Riggers was actually her disguised, throwing you in the pit. And then keeping your compatriots company while you were being interrogated by the real Riggers during the mental exam. Which begs the question, which one of the two of them is more sadistic?
Damn it.
Something you have to say, Estella?
I think she has a thing for a form of mine. I don't know. Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm heading out. Bye. I'm drinking. I'm done.
Get out while the getting's good.
At which point Stella will leave the room. See several of the people basically gambling, some of them chit-chatting about jobs, one person giving details about how he slit a man from head to toe and kept the toe. And then you'll see Victoria as she sort of sashays her way over to you,
God
puts an
damn it.
arm around you, says, "We need to talk."
Uh-oh!
Yes.
And then she whispers, "When you have a moment, dear," and just sort of pats you on the shoulder
I have
and
moments now.
starts to walk off. She's like, "Oh, so quickly? Well, it's
Uh-oh!
never too soon to kiss up to your supervisors."
Uh-oh!
Riggers must have taught you that one.
I
At which point she
literally
just sort of
have
gets close to
nothing
your
to-
face and just puts a finger underneath your chin and goes, "This way, sweetie." At which point she pulls her fingernail out without scratching you and starts walking over to one of the doors, pulls out a key, unlocks it, and heads on in.
She pinches her nose and orders a glass before she heads in.
Guy walks by, gives you a strong glass, but a small one.
Thank you.
You notice some of the people are kind of quiet and watch you go into the room with her with interest.
Oh, boy.
At which point you proceed in. As she's standing next to the door, she just sort of slams it quickly behind you and locks it with the key as she slides it back into her stocking as she's wearing high boots. And she takes a seat.
And that's the last we heard of Istella from quite a while.
So, as she leans over, propping her head up with her hands, what would you like to talk about? As we then flash back over to the party who follows the John over to the back wall as he pushes on the metal, at which point hand passes through it, says, "After you, gentlemen," and Beast. The motions Sam, Brenna, Max, Ash, and of course, unknowns to him, Ash's little compatriot. Through the wall.
So technically there was 4 people there. He just didn't know about it. Ha-ha.
Bugs aren't people.
You say that to a bug and see what happens.
Gabu would
Technically, he
disagree
doesn't
with you.
even care. I am a biological life form. I am not a person.
No, I was going to say that to a Thrycreen, why don't you?
At which point you guys will proceed in, and you'll find yourself in another room with the floor littered with bugs.
Gross. Can I step on them?
They are small-sized, scarab-looking things with large stones on their back, and they just seem to walk around all over the place.
I'd
He
leave
carefully
them
walks past them and goes over to the table in the center of the room, which has bugs crawling over it, as he picks one up out of his chair with both hands and sets it on the ground, and then takes a seat.
So don't step on them.
Correct.
Like, if you'll proceed through carefully, they're mostly trained, although they will attack, and in number, against any hostile force.
I'll
Max
whisper
might
to the
say-
bear. Now the bear will carefully, slowly move.
Ash
towards-
does his best to not step on her.
Sam will do the same. If she gets
And then
to the
I
chairs,
will do the same.
she will gently remove any that are on the chair and place them on the floor.
None in your chair. Brenham has one in his chair, which basically latched onto the back of it as the chair's nearly leaning over from its weight.
Thank
Most
God,
of the bugs will
Seven.
move out of your way as you walk by, just sort of like snapping their mandibles near your feet, but not at them. Go, and we'll get ready to start the next one. We'll need to give a few moments while things calm back down. As you see, the big bugs are just kind of hissing and biting at each other.
Don't like visitors much, do they?
Safety measures, and they don't all get along with each other, I'm told.
Much like people.
Supposedly. Except for these are worth a little bit and are apparently good eating, if you're into that kind of thing.
She just looks at him out of curiosity. Is like, they're good eating?
Supposedly, sometimes people prefer to keep them as pets, especially spellcasters.
Huh.
I'm more curious about that now.
Same. Like, wait, what?
Yeah, sorcerers tend to enjoy them and wizards. I don't understand it.
Must have some involvement with arcane magics that they're using them as a familiar, and there's some kind of benefit to it.
Yeah, Kapu actually told me they could be
Would that be
useful
knowledge
for me.
arcane?
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I don't have it, but that's the estimate Kapu told me.
That's a 20.
They can be used as familiars. These large scarabs that have gems on their back can be used as familiars to add additional benefits. Such an individual can select a spell that the creatures are able to produce and use it as a spell-like ability.
So the creatures are actually able to produce spells.
Yes.
Huh, that sounds interesting.
Also, the gems on their back can be harvested for money.
Oh, good thing.
No, Max, that's not what he means.
Most intriguing little creatures.
Which point we'll jump back over to doggo conversation with
Dun dun dun.
good old Seven and Riggers. Oh, your compatriot has left the room, which I thought you two were almost inseparable and quite well mannered to each other. Now that she's gone and you're past your little tiff with her, what is it that you wanted to speak to good old Riggers about?
As you might have noticed, me and my companion aren't exactly from this city, and we're quite new, and we wanted to essentially get in with the guild so that way we had a place to belong, so to speak.
Oh, I do apologize. You chose apparently what one could say the most opportune time, but also the worst, considering that that's what brought around the opportunity. I would assume
Yeah.
you were present for the festival.
So we were.
My condolences.
It is one of the reasons why we are so adamant about getting to know this place, so that way maybe we might be able to offer our aid in finding whatever can rid this curse and get it off ourselves. But as you might have known, myself and Istella hired companions to aid us in our trials for Umbral Hoods.
Some are still with you, I'm told. Others have expired.
Yes. In exchange for this, we were to aid them in getting, or helping them get inside of the guild that they wished to do so.
Very well.
While on one of the expeditions, we came across a dead body.
Okay.
We looted the body, and since that the body had nothing to do with the expedition itself, we kept the items. And today we went to go sell the item in particular.
Interesting and fair.
And it just so happened that it belonged to someone and they wanted it back, so they gave it to us with a fee when suddenly a Tread Whisper showed up.
Oh my.
Now, this Tread Whisper is stalking me.
So you have an admirer. I'm almost interested what piqued their attention to said dead man's loot.
I don't particularly know all I remember was it was an important sigil, and that was about it.
Well, they're probably curious as to your connection and what you were doing with said item, and if it posed a danger to the city, as they can be overcautious about such things. Otherwise, I doubt they're dog catchers and would bother with one dog walking the street alone. And I'm sure if they find out that you are connected to us, the standard agreements we have with each other will quickly cause him to lose interest or not pursue further without higher authority permission.
Very well. That is what I wanted to confirm, was if there was some sort of protection since I'm in Umbral Hoods from other guilds.
You're an initiate, but you're still one of our initiates, and the Grand Guilds work together and communicate, but we do protect our own, and we respect each other's privacy, at least up front. As such, it's beyond his pay grade to go and pester an initiate for no blasted reason, just to get in trouble with his superior and have to deal with your superior.
Very well. I figured I would at least mention something along the lines, so
Unless what you're dabbling in is worrisome enough that it would involve said superiors of both guilds, then we may have a problem, and I may have a problem, and you may have a problem, and Istella may have a problem, and so will all your little friends.
we
Not a
have
threat,
no
just that
intention.
things tend to trickle down.
We have no intention. It was a one-time thing that will never happen again in our likelihood of our lifetime.
Still surprised such a thing will
Your
draw their
lifetime.
attention. But whatever it is, it's not my concern. And I'm pretty sure if it's such a thing to quickly draw such attention, it's already above my head. Maybe Victoria's problem in the near future, but not mine.
Very well.
Okay. I imagine there's nothing more you want to tell me, and honestly, there's nothing more I really want to know about the situation. The more I know about it, the more it becomes my problem.
Which is exactly why I didn't want Istella to know it did not happen to her, and therefore she has no affiliation.
No, although I'm sure that sweet little thing you keep with you most of the time and clings to you might be involved in the problem, but I'm pretty sure she's already well aware of the problem.
I'm sure. If not, she will be by the time that we leave this place, as...
Referring to Sam, of course, Riggers was.
Yes, I know.
Okay, just be sure.
Yeah. As I will be returning to her as soon as we're done here.
Beautiful. Whatever guild, minor or major she's doing, best of luck.
It was her final exam, so I'm hoping she passed it with flying colors.
Time will tell. It's the last day, so not that they'd give retries anyway. Well, anything else I can do for you, my little four-legged friend?
Well, I suppose you gave us our first mission, and I would... While Estella may not be up to it, I'm a person who likes to keep working and working and working. So as the more jobs you can give me, the happier I shall be.
No problem. You'll meet with your associate on the island. Say he's got a thing for dogs, so should be fine for you.
Thing for dogs. Are you talking about thing for dogs or thing for dogs?
He likes animals, especially four-legged kind.
I shall keep that in mind.
You will not take my doggo.
You will not flick me digger. My digger is my victory.
I don't know why I heard Gecko.
Riggers gets up with a smile, starts to light his pipe, and opens the door, steps out, and gives it a light inside the hall. And you're free to wander about. Meanwhile, in 2 rooms over, with Victoria,
Dun, dun, dun,
Another doomsday.
which I'm pretty sure you can draw the conclusion, Nix, that Victoria's actually like Rigger's superior, and that he
Yes.
either asked a favor or she owed him one, which is why she helped him out on that exam. So they have kind of a interesting relationship. But unbeknownst to Stella, one of the other guild members of Umbral Hood, Victoria is having a conversation.
So, mind if I ask exactly why you requested me here, ma'am?
Thought I was doing you a little bit of a favor by delivering it personally. Did you prefer just a little errand boy, a low ranker, to show up and drop off a message?
No, I did not mean any signs of disrespect, ma'am. However, we've recently been getting visitors onto our ship, and I've been a little more on edge than I would like to say.
Oh, but your crew is beautiful. Your ship, a little dingy. And besides, considering what Riggers supposedly saw in the two of you and my unfortunate involvement in the last exercise and sheer boredom with those so-called companions of yours, I couldn't help but want to meet you firsthand and see what you were like outside of your exams.
I see, ma'am.
Surprisingly, as I said, a little disappointed, but hopefully, as a little stone, maybe it can be polished and shine.
Again, apologies on disappointment.
That's okay. Riggers doesn't really meet my expectations either, as do most people, for that matter. I only tend to take a liking to a handful of individuals who are skilled or possess unique skills that can be of benefit to the guild.
That's the main reason why I signed on.
Then let's hope you can arise to the occasion, my dear. After all, disappointment does not go well. You do not, as she leans over, want to see me disappointed. Riggers may be free of my wrath, and what we did has been resolved between the two of us in regards to that little escapade I had to participate in. But initiates, well, you have your foot in the door. Nothing prevents me from slamming it shut and having your foot get cut off. Expectations are high for the two of you getting brought in.
I see, ma'am.
And as an overseer and someone much higher on the food chain than Riggers, I don't want
Very
us to
bad.
waste our time. So, as cute as you are, like a little button, and as sharp as you are with that little forked tongue as a snake, and as skilled as you are with hiding your blades, and as useful as that would be in town, and your shifting forms, and as I can go on, you aren't that unique overall. There's many skilled people who come and go, but only the most skilled move up. So be sure that you shine bright, dear. Otherwise, you'll find yourself in the gutter, because there are plenty of people here who have spent years working their talents to even join, and will spend many more years and life-threatening injuries to move up in this organization. A regular guild of thieves, sure, backstabbing, manipulation, one or two impressive acts, and up the ladder you go. This is a grand guild. We stand at the top. We hold as much influence as the Lord. Mind you, we can't look weak. So what I'm doing is telling you how important what this opportunity is for you and what expectations are. And also, more importantly, I'm warning you that many of the people here won't like you because you pretty much cheated your way in here. So you need to show them up and fast. Otherwise, they're going to walk all over you and they'll make sure you stay an initiate for the rest of your life. Or try to get you kicked out before that.
Most likely kicked out. I tend to not take kindly to people who try to walk over. Rank
Good.
is a very useful thing. However, outside of certain situations, it will be ignored. Being a first mate for so long, you learn that, yes, there are times where you will be looked down upon. However, you have the ability to control those who are underneath you. Though it's not many, it's still enough to gain favors, manipulations, and tools. Use what you have. And if some tools are out of your reach harder.
Beautiful, dear. I think I've had all I can say to you. I mean, after all, a dog and its trainer. Least I could do is give you a peaceful little warning, and if you come to seek me out, then that's definitely what I'll do. So now that that's done, really don't need to waste any more time with you. Honestly, if I do, it'll only go against you, as they'll think I'm giving you favoritism. And that will probably make you a body in the street. And we don't want that.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm back.
Which point she'll just stand up and excuse herself and head out the door. And she'll look across the room at the individual and go, I gave her a warning and nothing else. If you have a problem, come and see me. And if you have enough time to pay attention to what I'm telling you, then you are wasting your time. And then she'll go head up the steps. As everybody will just go back to what they're doing. And they will ignore you as you leave.
She steps out again, rubbing her temples. Just like, no, when I get back to the current timeline, everything will be fine. Nobody will. Yeah, sure, some people will be dead, but everything will be fine.
At which point, an old man will walk by you and just sort of place a hand on your shoulder and be like, tough day, dear. Like, it's okay. You need not say a word. Just breathe it in, have a drink, move about, and know that no one can kill you in this place that works here at this moment. And then he'll just walk on by and just head up the steps.
She's just pinching her nose again and just walks out and orders another drink.
Careful, it might be poisoned.
Don't drink the.
They can't
Don't
kill her
drink
in
demon's
here.
blood. Don't drink the demon one.
I'm smarter than you, dearie.
Ow.
Wrong character.
Ooh.
Exactly.
Wrong character.
Yeah, but
Not
still,
viable anymore.
I have a feeling that Killian's going to trick this one into drinking it too, so...
we'll try.
Ash doesn't drink, though, if I remember correctly.
Not really, no. Kavo even is against drinking alcohol.
See?
Point, both Istella and Seven are back in the main guild hall section in the back room past the kitchen with other associates walking around. Seven basically sees the old man give Istella the little speech and then he heads up the steps. And Istella just goes and orders a drink for a silver piece.
Seven would have already taken the armband and shifted form at this point, and he just walks over and sits next to Istella
As Doggo?
as Doggo.
again, pinch your nose again, like, and goes back to speaking in Aquan. These are the moments when I wish I'm not sober.
At that point, Seven just nudges his head into her waist.
Do you want some of mine, dearie?
He gives a happy little chirp.
She'll request a bowl and or some.
Guy behind the bar will get a saucer and set it up there.
She pours some and sets it on the floor.
And he proceeds to drink, or lap.
You know you're spoiled, right?
And he just gives a bark.
That's his way to say, I don't give a fuck.
You know you're spoiled, right? Yep.
Sam takes great care of me, and you pay my debts and traveling fee, and I get to talk to people. Yeah, it's a good day. And honestly, we will probably stop here just due to the time, and also kind of a good stopping point with the one half of the group getting ready to complete the next half of their little escapade with Horizon with help, and the other half is in the tavern or
Drunk
main
as
room in the
shit.
guild hall, getting ready to not get shanked, but have conversations with other individuals, or otherwise just get the hell out.